1,000 years ago, beasts from the Black Abyss invaded the human world. But when the monuments appeared, they gave humanity a small chance to survive. These monuments granted people special powers called professions, and humans began fighting back. After leveling up over time, humans finally managed to push the beasts back into the Black Abyss and reclaim their land. Since then, Huaxia built its provincial capitals around the 9 monuments. Every year, a special ceremony is held to choose high school students who will become the new defenders against the Black Abyss. But the beasts haven't truly disappeared, they're still lurking in the dark. To stop them for good, the young must grow stronger. In year 53, on job transfer day at the Lintian City Monument Branch, a man stood on stage and announced the start of the ceremony. Soon, the monument would assign professions to each student based on their talents. No matter if they got a combat or support role, they all had a duty to serve their nation, Huaxia. The future rested on their shoulders. The students were excited. After studying for 18 years, they would finally awaken their powers. One student hoped for a combat role so he could join a guild and earn easy money. The guy next to him said being a warrior wasn't that simple. Their school only had a 50% success rate for combat roles. Then they noticed a quiet student nearby and laughed. Lin Tianhao was still asleep during the ceremony. Everyone at school knew him as a lazy slacker. If he even got a support profession, that alone would be a miracle. One of them joked that a useless class like a beast tamer would suit him perfectly. Lin Tianhao then finally woke up. He was the lowest ranked student at Lintian City High School. After crossing over into this world, he had made it to this day. He wondered what kind of profession he'd receive. The guy who mocked him walked over and asked what profession he wanted. Tianhao answered with a grin. His goal was an S-rank talent or a hidden class. They laughed at him, telling him to stop dreaming. They said he probably wouldn't even get a life-type class. After all, in the last potential test, he only got a C. Based on that, Tianhao knew his chances were slim. His stats were low: strength 2.9, intelligence 2.8, constitution 1.6, spirit 1.7, agility 1.5, and a C potential rating. Still, he believed a nobody could rise up and become great, especially since he had already crossed over into another world. If that was possible, then so was a miracle. That's why he still hoped to get a good profession. Soon it was time for Class 2 from Lintian City No. 1 High School to take the stage. Names were called one by one. First up was Wang Dong. In his mind, he wanted the loser Tianhao to watch him shine during the job transfer. The facilitator explained that the process would take about 5 seconds. If he felt any discomfort, that was normal. Just bear with it. He placed his hand by the monument. A bright light flashed and the transfer was a success. His new class was Warrior. He was thrilled. A system then appeared and showed that his talent was C rank. The facilitator told him that even a C rank was impressive among regular people and wished him success as a warrior. He was told to go to the Lintian City Guild Center, where pros would teach him how to use his new skills. Some girls who liked him squealed as he passed by. They told him not to forget them. Others were jealous. Being a warrior meant stable work for life. While showing off, he bumped into Tianhao. He said he didn't even notice someone was there. Turns out it was just their class's dead weight. Wang Dong had always bullied him, and now that he had a powerful job, Tianhao felt things would only get worse. Other students circled around. They called Dong out for not saying sorry after bumping into him. One even said he found Tianhao annoying. They joked that with his long face, he probably thought he looked cool. But Dong just waved it off. He said he was in a good mood and wouldn't let trash ruin it. He invited the guys for drinks at the tavern that night. Tianhao wondered how a bully like Dong could become a warrior. It only made him more curious about what job he would get. The bullies also talked about him. They were sure his job would be nothing compared to Dong's. Then the facilitator called out the next name. It was Tianhao. He walked toward the monument. As he stood there, he silently prayed. He didn't care what class he got, as long as it could help him survive. He held his breath. Then he placed his hand on the monument. Lightning sparked from it. Seeing that flash, he felt a little hopeful. Maybe things were finally turning around. Everyone waited for the result. The light slowly faded. The facilitator told him to brace himself. His job was summoner. Tianhao looked disappointed. The crowd burst into laughter. Summoner was known as a sewer-tier profession. Technically, it was a combat class, but raising summoned creatures was expensive and barely worth it. That's why people thought it was a trash job. They pitied him for getting the worst class possible. Life wasn't going to be easy. But then, something popped up. A system message said it had detected his awakening, his true identity, Abyssal Lord. He would now be granted a random SSS level talent. The system explained that with the Abyssal Lord path, he would gain a random SSS level Abyss talent every 10 levels. Tianhao tried to wrap his head around it. If it was true, He could get 10 SSS talents by level 100. Then a ticket was given to him by the lady. He stared at it as the system announced the start of the draw. It then congratulated him. He had received the SSS talent, Demonic Sacrifice. Demonic Sacrifice lets the user give up a portion of their max HP permanently to instantly level up a summoned creature and turn it into a demon, giving it divine powers from hell. Even after being demonized, the creature can still gain experience and grow stronger through battle. The cost was steep. It was a permanent loss of HP. But as a summoner, he didn't need to fight directly. As long as his summons were powerful enough, he'd be safe. And he could use gear that increased his max HP to make up for the loss. The system explained, for every 100 max HP he gave up, the summoned creature would gain 1 level. Right now, he has 1,000 horsepower. If he kept at least 100 horsepower for himself, that meant he could instantly boost one summon to level 9. Still, he knew it was risky. He planned to use the skill carefully. Since he stayed quiet, people thought he was upset. The facilitator tried to comfort him, saying there were still other paths in life. Tianhao thanked her and said he would make something of himself. Even then, the crowd still looked worried. Someone in the audience suggested he should just go home and think things through. Tianhao admitted summoners were seen as weak and useless, but he had already decided he would become the strongest summoner in the world. A few hours later, he arrived home. His sister asked how it went. He simply answered, "Summoner." She immediately felt sorry for him. She had just come out of the shower and was only wearing a towel. A small towel was draped over her shoulder. Tianhao grabbed it and began drying her hair. She told him that next year, when she gets her profession, she'd become a mage and protect him. He shoved the towel back at her and told her not to worry about him. She should focus on keeping herself safe. She pouted and said he was bullying her again. Just then, he got a message and immediately told her he was heading out. The message said there would be an assembly. He wasn't sure what it was about, but decided to check it out. The teacher informed the class that the job transfer results were quite good. There were 5 warriors, 8 mages, 11 support roles, and 1 summoner. Dong, who was sitting behind Tianhao, scoffed that a worthless person ended up with a worthless class. They mocked the summoner, convinced that being one meant his life was basically over. Because Tianhao's situation was a bit unusual, the teacher handed him a beginner's guide to help out. Tianhao expressed his thanks. The teacher then added that if Tianhao ever ran into problems, he should come to him for help. After that, he told him to return to his seat. Tianhao felt a bit overwhelmed when he saw how thick the book was. It confirmed his suspicion. Being a summoner put him at the bottom of the hierarchy. Next, the teacher addressed the class, explaining that they had been gathered because the school wanted to collect detailed data on everyone who successfully changed jobs. All the job change students would be present, so he warned them not to embarrass him. The group headed outside for the aptitude test. The instructor then announced that they'd begin. A mage went first. He struck the testing device and received a respectable score of 73, indicating decent talent. Then it was Dong's turn. He hit the machine with his sword and scored 89, clearly one of the top students. Tianhao was called up next. He had read about a basic summoning spell in the book, but he hadn't actually tried it yet. Still, he chose to trust the process and hoped it would work. He opened the book and began to read the spell. A breeze began swirling around him. Everyone was disturbed by the sudden gust of strong wind. Dust filled the area, making it hard to tell whether he had successfully summoned anything. When the dust finally settled, a slime appeared on the ground. Tianhao was stunned. The entire class burst into laughter. The slime looked too cute to be taken seriously. It was hard to imagine it fighting. Someone even joked that it was only good for cleaning floors. The slime clung to his leg, and he could hardly believe this was his summoned creature. The status window revealed its stats. Level 1, 500 HP, 9 attack power, with 2 skills, corrosive slime and slime spit. Tianhao frowned. With only 9 attack power, it felt like it wouldn't even leave a scratch. The teacher asked everyone to settle down so they could see the test result. They all turned to the board and saw a score of 9. Nothing more. The room went silent in disbelief. While the students laughed, the teacher tried to offer some words of encouragement. Tianhao asked if he could give it another shot. The teacher allowed it. He decided to test his class's unique ability. By using sacrifice, his summoned creature could be permanently demonized and upgraded. He chose to spend 200 points just to try it out. The other students looked on with confusion. To them, it didn't matter how many times he tried, they believed nothing would change. His total HP dropped from 1,000 to 800. Then a red lightning struck the slime. Its body began to twist and shift. Everyone stared in anticipation. The transformation continued, growing more intense. And when it was over, Tianhao stood before his new companion, a demonized slime. Now, at level 3, it had 1,200 horsepower, 120 attack power, and 3 skills: corrosive slime, slime spit, and dance of the demon. The once blue slime had turned crimson and grown two sharp horns. He launched the attack. The slime leapt into the air. Then, in a flash, it dashed forward and struck the target cleanly. All eyes turned to the scoreboard. For a moment, it flickered as if it had short-circuited. Everyone was stunned by the result. It displayed a score of 120. They couldn't believe how strong he was. It seemed impossible for him to get such a high score, especially when Dong had only scored 89. Dong was in disbelief. He questioned how it could have happened. Even the legendary war god of Huaxia, Fang Changyun, had only managed a score of 101 back in the day. The idea that Tianho hit 120 was hard to accept. He accused Tianho of tampering with the machine, pointing out that he took the test twice. His lackeys backed him up. They told the teacher that jumping from 9 to 120 was highly suspicious. Tianho admitted to himself that he did interfere, but only by using his class ability on his own summon. The teacher acknowledged that their doubts were reasonable. Tianho insisted that he didn't cheat. The teacher walked over to inspect the machine. There was a strange colored line across the screen. After examining it carefully, the teacher concluded that the machine had simply malfunctioned. Tianho hadn't cheated. Dong felt relieved to know it was just a machine malfunction. In his mind, there was no way that loser could ever surpass him. He then asked what would happen to Tianho's score. One of his lackeys quickly chimed in, saying it was clearly 9 points since the machine had worked fine the first time and everyone saw it. The teacher announced that because of the malfunction, Tianho's result would be voided and he'd have to retake the test later. Tianho was surprised that he was being given another shot. Some students protested the decision, accusing the teacher of covering for him. But the teacher stood firm. Since the machine was broken, the testing was over. Those who hadn't taken the test, including Tianho, would get another chance once the machine was repaired. One of the lackey's eyes flared red, as if he was about to start something, but he backed down the moment Dong gave him a cold glare. Dong sneered that even if Tianho took the test again, trash would still be trash. He told him to keep dreaming. Then he turned to his group and told them to head back with him to the Level 1 Black Abyss. Tianho remembered it as a beginner's dungeon. He figured it would be the perfect place to test out his demonized slime, so he decided to go there too. The group then took their leave. Later, the repairman arrived and discovered the machine had been damaged, by a student no less. When they saw the extent of the damage, they wondered if the school had actually birthed a genius. Nearby, an old man noticed Tianho. He walked over and commented that Tianho's physique was well suited for a summoner. The line struck a chord with Tianho. It felt familiar, though he couldn't remember where he had heard it before. He asked the old man if he was really talking to him. In response, the old man revealed a top-tier summoner's staff, offering it for 300 gold. Tianho was skeptical. To him, it looked like nothing more than a fancy stick, and the price seemed like a scam. But the old man insisted he was only offering it to him because he believed they were fated to meet. For anyone else, he said, the price would have been at least 1,000. As Tianho held the staff, he could feel its power radiating through him. With no proper summoner's guild around, good gear was rare. So despite his doubts, he decided to take it. The old man asked for 300 gold. Unfortunately, Tianho only had 92. He asked if the old man could give him a discount and sell the staff for 92 gold instead. The old man accepted it as a deposit. He explained that with the payment, the staff would be reserved and wouldn't be sold to anyone else. However, if Tianho truly wanted to claim it, he would need to travel to the deepest part of the Level 1 Black Abyss maze and retrieve a specific treasure. Only then would the staff be his. Tianho considered backing out, but it felt too late. Deep down, it felt like he had just accepted a quest from an NPC. The old man handed him a paper and said that once he reached the deepest area, everything would become clear. Then he insisted that Tianho place his fingerprint on it. Tianho asked why he was being dragged into this man's personal errand. Eventually, he stamped it. The old man grinned and reminded him of their agreement. Tianho walked away, feeling a little defeated. After he left, someone approached the old man and respectfully called him Elder Fang. The teacher then reported that the testing had been suspended due to the machine breaking down. He suggested the elder return for now. Elder Fang asked if he knew the student. The teacher replied that Tianho was in his class. He felt sorry for the boy, having drawn the short end of the stick as a summoner. He knew the road ahead would be a tough one. The elder nodded in agreement. At the entrance to the Level 1 Black Abyss, the air was cold. Towering before him was a massive structure housing a portal. This place, also known as the Cold Valley Abyss, required a team of 3 to 5 people to enter. It was restricted to levels 1 through 10. Anyone outside that range would be immediately purged by the Overseer. Since it had a party requirement, Tianho knew he couldn't tackle it alone. He pulled up the leaderboard. At the end of the monthly rankings, those who reached the top received generous rewards. Currently, the #1 spot on the leaderboard belongs to Fang Changyun. The reward for first place is a beginner chestplate that grants 30% armor, 20% magic resistance, and boosts max HP by 120 points. Tianho recognized it as excellent early game equipment. He quickly realized it was worth fighting for the top rank. Someone nearby noticed him and sneered, asking what a bottom feeder like him was doing there. Noticing that he intended to enter the abyss, the guy mocked him, saying he probably wouldn't survive more than 10 seconds inside. Tianho was growing tired of hearing the same insults. It was Dong and his usual crew. Dong told him to go back home and stick to farming. Tianho told them to mind their own business. They challenged him, pointing out that the dungeon required a minimum of 3 people. Could he even get in? Dong raised his voice, boasting that they had a C-rank warrior and 2 E-rank mages, and asked the crowd if anyone wanted to join their party. Immediately, people swarmed around them. Everyone was eager to join their team. A priest promoted himself, hoping to be picked. Dong selected 2 party members. His lackeys hyped him up, bragging about his strength and their goal of dominating the leaderboard. Hearing that, the new recruits grew nervous, worried they might slow the group down. Suddenly, the portal pulsed and spat out a skull and bones. That terrified the newcomers. Dong's lackeys grinned and warned them to stay close, or else they might end up the same way. The leader then spoke up, saying they should get moving. Tianho quietly watched them disappear inside. He knew Dong and his crew were bad news. The newcomers likely wouldn't make it out alive. While death wasn't permanent, thanks to resurrection, it came with a heavy cost. That's why clearing the dungeon without dying was always the best strategy. Tianho activated his status window and displayed it above his head. It revealed he was a level 1, S-rank summoner. That drew the attention of someone nearby, who nudged his teammates and suggested they invite Tianho to join. But one of the others immediately shot down the idea. Despite the S-rank, he argued that a summoner was still useless. The woman in the group sighed in disappointment. They thought they had found someone promising, only to realize it was just more dead weight. They decided to wait and look for better options. Our MC then spotted someone in the crowd. It was Li Shui, a level 1 bard with E-rank talent. Unfortunately, being E-rank meant her buffs wouldn't be very effective, at least not until she reached D-rank or higher. From the look on her face, Tianho could tell she had been waiting there for days. He walked up to her and asked if she wanted to team up. She blushed at the offer. Tianho extended his hand and told her he planned to compete for a spot on the leaderboard, but no one was willing to party with him. Deep down, Li Shui knew that was a long shot, but he was handsome, and she didn't want to let the chance slip by. So she agreed to join him. Just a few seconds later, they exchanged introductions. Tianho reassured her that once they entered the dungeon, he'd handle the monsters. All she had to do was focus on staying safe. Her eyes sparkled like hearts. The thought that he might be worried about her made her feel giddy. She promised she wouldn't be a burden. Now, they only needed one more member. Suddenly, a loud voice echoed across the area, calling out, "Goddess Qing!" Heads turned instantly. When Su Qing appeared, she drew everyone's attention, especially the men. She was a level 1 druidess with A-rank talent. Many rushed to offer her a spot in their parties, but internally she found them all irritating. A commotion broke out as they fought over her. Tianho recognized the campus belle immediately. To his surprise, Qing seemed to recognize him too. She stopped right in front of him, staring so intently it made him uneasy. In her mind, she was considering teaming up with him. Then, with a playful tone, she acted cute and demanded to be added to his party. The men who admired her were furious and filled with envy. Suddenly, Tianho found himself in a very awkward situation. Qing grabbed his hand and stepped into his personal space without hesitation. The others began complaining, wondering why he was chosen, of all people. Poor Tianho, he hadn't done anything, yet he was catching all the heat. Irritated, Qing yelled at them, announcing that she had already joined a party and told them to get lost. Her blunt attitude caught everyone off guard. She rushed off toward the portal. Tianho called after her, asking why she wanted to join his team. She answered honestly, she was aiming for the leaderboard and needed 2 carry-ons. If she could take some trash all the way to first place, no one would ever look down on her again. Her choice of words was kind of hurtful. She told them to stop standing around and start moving. Tianho sighed, slightly troubled by the fact that they now had a little princess on their team. Shui quietly asked if it would just be the 3 of them. He confirmed it. There wasn't anyone else suitable to join. He told her that if things ever got too dangerous, she should feel free to leave the party and retreat. They stepped through the portal and into the snow-covered dungeon. The cold hit them instantly. Even with the cold resistance gear Tianho had bought, it didn't seem to help much. Jue offered to cast a low-level resistance aura. She gently plucked her small harp, and a warm golden light wrapped around them. Qing glanced her way and remarked that maybe Jue wasn't completely useless after all. Tianho reminded them that they needed to move quickly. They were here to compete for the leaderboard. Suddenly, a pair of glowing red eyes appeared from the shadows. Tianho stared it down. It was a corrupted wandering wolf. Level 1. Its stats showed 400 HP, 21 attack, 200 agility, 1 defense. Its skills were Plague Spread and Weakened Howl. A tragic creature, its soul was bound to the Cold Valley Abyss, trapped in a broken body. It was considered a standard-class monster. Qing recognized it right away. She smiled, saying the timing was perfect. She had been meaning to get some practice in, then she transformed into a spirit cat. Watching her semi-beast form in action, Tianho finally understood what it meant to be a druidess. She leapt and immediately charged at the monster. She slashed at the wolf with her claws. Tianho noticed that the wolf began taking recurring damage. He quickly deduced that her claw attacks had inflicted a bleeding effect. Shui was genuinely impressed by Qing's strength. The wolf dropped loot. Wolf pelts worth 20 gold per bundle and wolf fangs that went for 10 gold per bundle. Qing handed the items to Shui as thanks for casting the cold resistance aura earlier. She explained that she didn't like feeling indebted to anyone. Shui smiled, touched by the gesture, and told her she didn't need to be so formal. After that, Qing suggested they keep moving forward. Tianho gave one last look at the fallen wolf before following. Before long, their path was blocked by 3 more wolves. Without hesitation, Qing shifted into her beast form and charged. She tore through the wolves, cutting them down swiftly. However, handling 3 at once proved to be a bit much. Still, she didn't let it slow her down. She had her eyes set on the leaderboard. Shui grew concerned when she noticed Qing was injured. She offered to cast a low-tier healing spell, but Qing refused. The spell wouldn't restore much health anyway, and she advised Yue to conserve her mana instead. Qing pulled out a potion and took a drink. Tianho gently tapped Shui on the shoulder, offering a silent gesture of comfort. As they continued walking, they stayed alert and scanned their surroundings. Up ahead, Qing unknowingly stepped on a magic circle. Her instincts kicked in. She knew immediately that it wasn't good. In an instant, a massive hammer came crashing down from above. She narrowly dodged it. The weapon had been hurled by a corrupted wandering zombie, an elite monster. It was level 4 with 600 HP, 56 attack, 100 agility, and 5 defense. Its skills included Hammer Strike, Rotting Stench, and Devour. It was a decaying corpse that spawned corrupted wolves. Though its brain was almost gone, its aggression was relentless against intruders. Seeing that it was an elite, Qing knew they were in for trouble. Jie grew anxious, startled that an elite monster had appeared out of nowhere. She asked why it would show up here. Tianho guessed that Qing's rampage through too many corrupted wolves had provoked it. The zombie swung its hammer at Qing again. She was caught off guard by its unexpected speed. The blow sent her flying, and she slammed into a nearby boulder. Shui panicked and turned to Tianho, asking what they should do. The zombie raised its hammer again, ready to strike the unconscious Qing. Without hesitation, Tianho summoned his demon slime. A thick mist spread across the area. Then the slime emerged, now at level 3. Tianho gave the command for it to use the skill. Dance of the Demon. The slime dashed forward, moving so fast it left only a streak of light in its wake. The hammer came crashing down toward Qing. The ground split apart on impact, but the monster froze in surprise. Tianho calmly suggested it take a moment to check whether its attack had actually landed. The slime had already snatched Qing away and gently handed her over to Shui. Tianho instructed Shui to bring Qing to a safe spot nearby and heal her. He would handle the wandering corpse himself. The zombie prepared to swing again. Tianho commanded the slime to use slime spit. The creature leapt into the air and soared above the monster. A devilish grin formed on its gooey face. The demon slime unleashed a shower of red, slimy liquid onto the monster below. The creature raised its arms to shield itself from the attack. Tianho quickly followed up by ordering the slime to use Demon Dance again. He could tell that the monster's defense was tough. They were only managing to deal about 50% of the expected damage. He needed a new approach. The monster flinched. It was beginning to realize that the slime's attacks could melt through its flesh. The slime charged in again. Tianho quickly formed a plan. He commanded the slime to combine Demon Dance with strong corrosive slime, targeting the monster's ankle. The slime lunged forward with precision. It struck the monster's ankle. It worked. The monster instantly collapsed. Shui continued tending to Qing with healing magic. Eventually, Qing's eyes fluttered open. She caught a glimpse of Tianho in action and saw just how powerful he really was. Meanwhile, Tianho had analyzed the fight and realized the monster's lower body had weaker defenses. He ordered the slime to keep targeting that area. Slime began raining down again. It piled up until it reached the monster's waist. Even its hammer began to melt from the corrosive slime. And with that, Tianho brought down the corrupted, wandering zombie. He gained 120 EXP, a corpse hammer, 10 wolf hides, and 10 wolf fangs. He leveled up to level 2. He was stunned by how much experience he had just received. The two girls were equally shocked by his strength. Zhui asked if summoners were really that powerful. Qing replied that it wasn't about the class, it was Tianho himself. His strength was terrifying. Taking down an elite monster solo wasn't something just anyone could do. Tianho approached her and gently asked if she was okay. She blushed at his concern. She answered that her injuries were only minor. Xu then mentioned that her healing chant was slow and they needed to stop and rest. But Qing refused, reminding them that they were racing for the top of the leaderboard. She insisted that she could still fight and urged them to keep going. But her legs wobbled, she could barely stand. Tianho caught her and supported her weight, asking how she expected to compete for the leaderboard if she died trying. She blushed, then admitted he had a point. Reluctantly, she agreed to rest first. Tianho told her that the map showed a nearby cave. They'd spend the night there. They soon arrived at the cave. Tianho suggested that they rest while he stood guard outside. Shui, completely drained from overusing her magic, fell asleep the moment she lay down. They were both surprised at how quickly she knocked out. Tianho gently urged Qing to get some rest as well. Just before he stepped out of the cave, Qing quietly thanked him for saving her earlier. Tianho didn't respond right away. He simply stared at her, her face flushed with embarrassment. She quickly added that she wasn't the kind of person to forget a favor. Then, clearly flustered, she turned around and mumbled that he should pretend she never said anything. Tianho couldn't help but smile. For all her sharp words, the tsundere noble girl had a sincere heart. From inside, Qing peeked out and watched him leave. Outside, now alone, Tianho decided to check his status after leveling up to 3. He was now at level 3. His HP had risen from 800 to 1200, MP from 300 to 400. His attack power jumped from 12 to 40, spirit increased from 80 to 100, defense went up from 1 to 2, agility improved from 50 to 55, and luck rose from 10 to 20. His talent Demonic Sacrifice remained at S rank, and his skill Fully Armed was now unlocked at level 1. This skill allowed his spirit to shield his summoned creatures and boost all their stats. His current beast slot capacity was 1 out of 2. Tianho smiled, pleased with his progress. He activated the skill Fully Armed. It wasn't bad at all. Actually, it worked just like a buff-type enhancement. His HP rose by 400, and that boost alone was enough to allow him to level up the slime 4 more times. Still, he realized that if he couldn't increase his HP cap any further, he'd need to find an alternative method. So, he used Convert to transfer 400 HP. His HP dropped back down to 800, while the demon slime leveled up to level 7. Its stats saw a big boost. HP increased to 1400, attack power reached 140, agility hit 120, and defense climbed to 7. It also unlocked a new skill. Split. Tianho was curious. Were the slime's clones different from the original? He decided to test it out. The demon slime jumped into the air. Once it was a safe distance from Tianho, he gave the command, use split. Sure enough, the slime's body is divided into 2. Tianho observed closely. He even checked their stats. Both slimes were now at level 7 with 700 HP, 140 attack power, 130 agility, 4 defense, and the same skills, except split wasn't available for the copies. In short, their HP had been halved, agility increased slightly, and defense dropped. He wondered how long the effect would last. Just then, a timer appeared above the demon slimes. 3 minutes. Tianho was stunned. That wasn't much time at all. Suddenly, he heard something coming from inside the cave. His senses flared. He knew something was wrong. The 2 girls were in danger. He rushed back inside. What he saw made his heart skip a beat. Shui and Qing were facing a massive monster. Without hesitation, Tianho ordered the slime to split again. The slimes lunged forward and attacked. The result, only minus 25 damage. Tianho was shocked by how little effect it had. The monster was a giant snow rabbit, level 8. It had 800 HP, 80 attack power, 500 agility, and 6 defense. It looked bizarre. A humanoid rabbit with the head and body of a rabbit, but walking upright on 2 legs. Snow rabbits thrived year-round in frozen environments, growing dense fur that made them resistant to basic attacks. Xu and Qing immediately broke into a cold sweat. With a 6-level gap between them and the creature, they knew they didn't stand a chance. The snow rabbit opened its mouth unnaturally wide. Then it lunged at Tianho. Qing shouted for him to be careful. Tianho shrugged it off, saying, "It's just a rabbit." The demon slime responded with a shot of slime spit, but while the snow rabbit was charging, it suddenly vanished. The The slime attack missed and splattered on the ground. In the blink of an eye, the snow rabbit reappeared, right behind the demon slime, and launched a powerful kick. The blow sent the slime flying across the cave. And just like that, the rabbit was on it again. It landed a punch before the slime could even recover. The attacks kept coming, non-stop. Tianho quickly ordered the slime to retreat and used Dance of the Demon and strong corrosive slime. The slime pulled back at top speed. Tianho observed closely. The snow rabbit was unbelievably agile. It excelled at dodging. Xue, overwhelmed, asked how something could be that fast. Qing explained that the snow rabbit was known as one of the trickiest monsters in the abyss. Many teams had been wiped out by it. But what puzzled her was why it had attacked them in the first place. They hadn't even entered its territory. Realizing the slime's attacks weren't doing any real damage, Shui suggested jumping in to help. Tianho found himself in a tough spot. Dance of the Demon had been interrupted earlier, and now it was on cooldown. He quickly ordered the slime to fall back, but the creature continued taking hits. Shui, unable to stand by any longer, made a move to help. Qing tried to stop her. She picked up a rock and threw it at the snow rabbit to divert its attention. It struck the rabbit right on the forehead. The snow rabbit slowly turned to face her. Qing froze in fear. The snow rabbit let out a fierce roar. Frantically, she rummaged through her bag and threw a carrot at the rabbit. The snow rabbit's eyes lit up. It instantly transformed into a cuddly, adorable bunny and happily munched on the carrot. All three were dumbfounded. Tianho realized this monster was just hungry. Qing, on the other hand, was baffled. She asked Xue why she even had carrots on her. Shui explained that she brought them as emergency rations for the group, but once the rabbit finished eating, it glared at them again. Sensing danger, Shui panicked and bolted, tossing carrots behind her as she ran. Naturally, the rabbit chased after the trail of food. Tianho knew they were almost out of carrots. If they were going to take the rabbit down, they needed to act fast. He told Shui to toss her bag to Qing. Qing looked confused, but Shui followed the instruction without hesitation. Qing caught the bag. Barely. The snow rabbit's attention immediately shifted to her. Instinctively, Qing transformed into her beast form, then glanced at Tianho and asked what exactly he was planning. She leapt into the air just as the snow rabbit tried to strike her. Tianho had no elaborate strategy in mind. Only one goal: to kill it. The rabbit lunged again, this time aiming both fists at her. She was taken aback by its speed. "Are you ready yet?" she called out to Tianho mid-dodge. He told her to lure it into the cave. In that instant, she understood his plan. Without hesitation, she turned and bolted toward the cave. The snow rabbit charged right after her. As Qing approached the dead end, she was certain the rabbit wouldn't be able to stop in time. And just as expected, it crashed headfirst into the wall. Boulders tumbled down onto its head. That was the slime's cue. It sprang into action, soaring above the rabbit, and began to rain down sticky, corrosive slime. The snow rabbit had walked right into Tianho's trap. He ordered the slime to use split and follow up with slime spit. The rabbit's demeanor shifted. It grew cautious. Its eyes darted around as it realized it was completely surrounded. The demon slime wore a devilish grin on its face and continued to chip away at the rabbit's health. Eventually, the fight ended in their favor. Victory was theirs. Tianho let out a breath of relief. It was finally over. He earned 200 EXP and now only needed 100 more to reach the next level. But the battle left him thoughtful. Even though the snow rabbit was only level 6, the slime had struggled against it. He realized that while the slime excelled in area of effect attacks, it was lacking when it came to single-target battles. If they encountered a similar situation again, things could turn bad. The girls were also relieved that the danger had passed. Shua even burst into tears. She genuinely thought she was going to die. Meanwhile, Qing was fuming, scolding Tianho for using her as bait. He apologized and explained that she was the only one fast enough to dodge the rabbit's attacks. She blushed, taking it as a compliment. Then she turned her annoyance toward Xu, blaming her for bringing carrots into the abyss and causing the mess in the first place. Shui defended herself, saying she thought having dry rations was a good idea. "No one's gonna gnaw on carrots down here," Qing huffed and told her to pack them all into her inventory. Before she could finish, Tianho stopped her. He pointed out that defeating just one snow rabbit granted 120 EXP, the highest yield they'd seen so far. If they could lure more into traps, they could level up much faster. The requirement to clear Cold Valley Abyss was to defeat the level 10 Abyss boss, and for that, every member of the team needed to be at least level 4. At the moment, both girls were at level 2, and Tianho was level 3. That meant they needed to take down at least 5 more snow rabbits to get everyone to the right level. Zhu hesitated, worried. They barely managed to defeat one. How would they handle more? But Tianho reassured them. This time they wouldn't be the hunted, they'd be the hunters. Qing immediately backed the idea. She had no time to waste grinding one monster at a time. If they could lure rabbits to them, it was perfect for their goal of reaching the leaderboard. They quickly got to planning. They placed a carrot on the ground as bait when a snow rabbit approached. They were surely proud of themselves. They jumped out from behind the boulder, launching a surprise attack. 3 hours later, they had finally leveled up. Tianho reached level 5, while both Qing and Shui hit level 4. They'd already spent 5 hours inside the abyss. Yue was pleased. Reaching this level in just 5 hours felt like incredible progress. Qing agreed. It was fast. The previous record holder had taken 8 hours to clear the dungeon. Shui was hopeful. Maybe they could beat that record. But Qing quickly grounded her optimism, reminding her that they still had the boss to deal with, and it wouldn't be easy. Tianho was thinking the same thing. According to the guide, the boss was the wandering zombie leader. It could summon corrupted wolves and wandering zombies to fight alongside it, making the battle a drawn-out endurance match. With their current setup, the fight could last at least 2 hours. Xue asked what the plan was now. Qing suggested they rest and recover completely before heading into the boss fight. Tianho agreed they'd take a 30-minute break. While they rested in the cave, Tianho used Convert to transfer HP. His total dropped from 1100 to 800. He was beginning to worry. His HP gains were getting smaller with each use. He knew he'd need to find a better solution once they got out of here. The demon slime had now reached level 9. Its HP had gone up to 1,600, attack power to 150, agility to 130, and defense to 9. Its skill set remained the same. Strong corrosive slime, slime spit, dance of the demon, and split. No new abilities had appeared, and the stat boost wasn't particularly impressive. Tianho silently hoped the upcoming boss fight wouldn't be too brutal. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed from outside the cave. They all jolted upright, alert and uneasy. Rushing outside to investigate, they were greeted by the sight of a magnificent creature, a winged horse with a shining horn. Tianho asked in disbelief, "What is that?" It was a hidden boss, a unicorn. Level 10. It had 1,500 horsepower, 120 attack power, 300 agility, and 10 defense. Its skills were Soul Cleansing Melody, Aura, Horn Thrust, Beast of Hoof Stomp, and Falling Meteor. This creature was sacred, noble, and pure. A guardian of the divine beast resting deep within the abyss. It only appeared when the land's life force was threatened, to drive out invaders and restore balance. Tianho was stunned. A unicorn? He could hardly believe it. He felt lucky to have stumbled upon such a rare boss. But judging by its stats, it was far more powerful than the dungeon's main boss. The demon slime tensed, ready to fight. The unicorn's horn began to radiate energy. Moments later, its eyes lit up with an eerie glow. Tianho stood completely still, his eyes vacant, as if he had fallen under the creature's spell. He was mesmerized by the creature's ethereal beauty. Without realizing it, he began walking toward the edge of a cliff. The demon slime noticed and sank its teeth into his leg. The pain snapped him out of it. He whirled around, furious at the bite. Tianho felt relieved. But then he saw that Qing and Shui were hypnotized too. They looked like they were seeing something beautiful, not realizing they were walking toward danger. Shui was just one step away from falling when Tianho shouted for them to watch out. He quickly pulled them both away from the edge. Then he placed them behind a boulder. They finally snapped out of it. Qing asked why the hidden boss appeared. Shui was confused because she thought the boss was the wandering zombie leader. Tianho said the unicorn is a guardian of life, and maybe it showed up because they killed too many snow rabbits. Zhui pointed out that it didn't appear when they fought a lot of undead before. Qing told them that beating the mini-bosses lets them reach the final area. Once they defeat the wandering zombie leader, they can clear the dungeon. But she pointed out that the hidden boss, the unicorn, had much higher stats than the main boss. She knew they could get wiped out. Zhu started crying. She didn't want to die and suggested they run away. Tianho said running wasn't an option. After killing so many snow rabbits, they had already been marked. Zhua regretted everything and said they were all going to die. Tianho put a hand on her shoulder. He reminded her that it was thanks to her they had reached a time that was half of the leaderboard's record. Now, they just had to beat the boss to clear the dungeon. He said it was just a hidden boss and he wouldn't let them get hurt. Qing acted confident and told them not to slow her down. Shu thanked them both. A few seconds later, the unicorn let out a loud roar. It had found them. They got ready to fight. The unicorn used Horn Thrust. As it charged, the ground cracked. It jumped across the cliffs. Tianho told everyone to scatter. The unicorn landed on the other side. Now that they had spread out, it was surrounded. The dust cleared, and the unicorn looked furious. Then it used Soul Cleansing Melody. The sound made them feel pain. Tianho called out to Shui. She began chanting, Sage's narrative hymn for resistance, a lullaby for weakening the enemy, and War God's march to boost their damage. The unicorn focused on her. Then it roared again. It used Beast Hoof Stomp. Zhu froze in fear as it charged toward her. Just in time, Qing grabbed its horn to stop it. She balanced herself and kicked the unicorn hard. Then she taunted it. The unicorn neighed loudly in response. It locked eyes on her as she ran. When it used horn thrust, she jumped high to dodge. She was starting to understand the boss's strength. Then the unicorn jumped too. Tianho shouted at her to watch out. The unicorn stabbed Qing straight in the chest. She was in shock. Shui quickly ran to her. She begged her to wake up. Tianho called for his slime. Seeing what happened, pushed him to fight. The slime leveled up to 9, raising its HP from 1600 to 1700 and its attack from 150 to 160. The unicorn turned to face them. The slime moved in. It got ready to spit. Then it unleashed a rain of spit on the unicorn. Zhu was amazed they managed to hold it back. The unicorn's biggest weakness was dark element attacks, and the demonized slime was the perfect counter. Tianho told it to keep going. It released more slimes onto the unicorn, making it scream in pain. The unicorn tried to escape. It flew up into the sky, but Tianho wasn't letting it run. He ordered the slime to use corrosive slime and demon's dance. The slime turned into a puddle, then launched itself into the air to chase it down. It easily reached the unicorn and got close to its face. The slime blocked the unicorn's path and it got startled. Tianho praised the slime for doing great. The unicorn fell to the ground. It was furious. It let out sonic waves from its horn. Tianho shouted for everyone to cover their ears. While making noise, the unicorn attacked the slime. Tianho told the slime to use split to dodge. It nearly got hit, but just in time. The slime split, and the horn stabbed through the gap. Now there were 2 slimes. The unicorn used its stomp skill. The split had a time limit, so Tianho knew he had to finish it fast. He told the slime to use corrosive slime again. One slime jumped high, while the other got stomped on. The unicorn sensed the one coming from behind. But before it could react, the slime had already splashed it with a lot of slime. It tried to get away, but the slime clung to it, making it scream in pain. Because of its severe injuries, the unicorn went into a frenzy. Tianho panicked when he saw it going berserk. He quickly told the slime to back off. The spot where the slime had latched on was badly damaged. The slime returned to Tianho's side. The unicorn stared at them with rage. Tianho held his ground, waiting for its next move. But he was puzzled. It suddenly stopped attacking. Then he noticed something strange. There was a puddle of purple liquid with bits of grass near the unicorn's feet. Qing asked why he was just standing there. She rushed in and told him to finish it off. Shui also started moving, but Tianho told her to wait. Qing leapt at the unicorn, and Tianho watched as she finished it off with a scratch. The unicorn collapsed. Qing stood proudly over it, pleased with what she did. The unicorn lay in the puddle, whimpering. Qing stepped back and was shocked. She didn't expect it to be crying. Suddenly, a beam of light came down from the sky. It let out a sound wave that caused them pain. The force was so strong it even made the ground shake and rocks shift. A boulder was about to crush them. Tianho ordered the slime to swallow it. The slime tried to eat the rock. It grew larger to fit it in. Eventually, the boulder dissolved inside it. Tianho praised the slime for doing a good job, but more rocks started falling. The whole place was falling apart. He told everyone to stick close. She panicked when a boulder nearly hit her foot. Qing was handling it. She clawed her way through the rubble. She moved fast, dodging the falling debris. Tianho grabbed Shui while Qing caught up. The slime formed a barrier around them. Qing then asked what was going on. Tianho explained that the guardian had died and the magic was fading. Then he panicked. He saw a boulder falling toward the unicorn. He told the slime to split and protect it. The slime struggled but followed the command. A piece of it rushed toward the unicorn. It moved quickly and covered the boulder. After dissolving the rock, it checked on the unicorn. Then it formed a barrier to keep it safe. The unicorn coughed up blood. Soon the mountain stopped collapsing. It was time to check on the unicorn. Qing asked what was going on. Tianho explained that the unicorn's blood had healing powers and the land started to recover when it touched the ground. The unicorn shook. Qing suggested they kill it now so they could leave the abyss. But Tianho stopped her. She asked why he kept getting in her way. Shui noticed something strange about the unicorn as well. Tianho realized it was trying to say something. Suddenly, the unicorn jerked up. Shui flinched. Qing insisted they kill it immediately, but again, Tianho told her to wait. She argued they didn't have time for that. The unicorn coughed up more blood, then it collapsed. They saw something sticking out of its belly. A horn had torn through it from the inside. Qing couldn't believe what she was seeing. Another unicorn had appeared. Qing stood frozen. The once barren land turned lush as the new unicorn came out. She realized the boss could reincarnate, so she rushed in, wanting to kill it before it got stronger. But Tianho stepped in her way. Once again, he told her to wait. She raised her weapon, but Tianho didn't move. So instead, she slapped him across the cheek. His cheek bled. A drop of his blood landed on the unicorn's horn. The horn began to glow brightly. Qing was already irritated with Tianho. While they argued, the unicorn tried to stand up. Then a notification popped up saying a contract had been formed. The two women paused and looked at the unicorn. Tianho turned to see. A golden light floated toward him. It gathered at his third eye. He could now see the juvenile unicorn's stats. Level 1, 600 HP, 15 attack, 100 agility, and 2 defense. Its skills included Soul Cleansing Melody and Beast Hoof Stomp. Tianho was suddenly transported to another dimension where only he and the unicorn existed. This was the outcome he had predicted. He had noticed earlier that the unicorn was trying to protect the baby inside it, but he never expected the baby could become a contracted beast. Now, he had a second summoned creature. Qing asked what was happening. She looked around for the unicorn. Then the ground started to shake again. A huge crack split it open. Qing grabbed Jue and pulled her along, shouting for Tianho to run. But Tianho knelt beside the fallen unicorn and promised that he'd protect its baby. Tianho sat on the lush green grass where the unicorn's body had once been. The system displayed the loot: a forgeable unicorn horn, unicorn mane, venomous unicorn blood, and a Cold Valley treasure chest. He was focused on checking the drops, while the slime behind him tried to warn him the ground was collapsing. The system congratulated him for breaking the record. The rankings had been updated. He expected it. Meanwhile, Qing was panicking. She shouted for him to hurry and come back, but the ground beneath him gave way. The two of them looked on in worry. Tianho started falling. The system asked if he wanted to exit the dungeon. He tapped, yes, and instantly, he disappeared. The other two were transported out too. They emerged from the dungeon. Xue thought she was really going to die. A moment later, Tianho appeared. Qing grabbed him by the collar. He tried to calm her down. Everyone around them was checking the leaderboard, causing a stir. It hadn't been updated in a long time, so people were eager to know who made it. Some argued that no one could beat Fang Changyun's record. Then someone stepped out of the portal, and the crowd rushed over, thinking it was the record-breaking team. Someone called Tianho's party and asked if they were the one who just broke the record. A man called him an idiot for thinking that way. Since the group was likely forced to leave, they were sure it wasn't them. It all seemed logical to them. Hearing that made Qing furious, so Zhui tried to hold her back before she caused a scene. People started gathering near the portal. Dong's party stepped out. He mocked Tianho for being kicked out. He walked up and said he didn't expect a loser like him to survive. Then he noticed the campus bell and asked why she was with someone like that. His lackeys told her to ditch Tianho and join Dong, since he was in the combat class. She called them dirty trash and told them to scram. Her words made them furious. Dong called over one of his lackeys, Yunfei. Then he pointed out the massive gap between him and Tianho. Tianho just smirked. He told Dong to open his eyes. That comment pissed Dong off. Then the rankings updated. Tianho took the top rank, and Baldy was left speechless. His lackeys lost their minds because of the result. Dong finally let go of Tianho's collar. Other players were shocked too, especially since Changyun had held the top spot for 3 years. They immediately started looking up Tianho. One of the lackeys couldn't believe someone like him could rank first. Yunfei accused him of cheating. He claimed that Tianho had cheated on a school test before, so he must have messed with the leaderboard too. The crowd started to doubt Tianho, wondering if it was possible. Their trust in him began to fade. Then someone shouted that they were all being ignorant. Yunfei, annoyed by the interruption, demanded to know who said that, but he went pale when he saw who it was. A group of elites had arrived. Peng Yi, a level 7 berserker with B-rank talent. Song Xiaolin, a level 7 priest also with B-rank talent. Yu Hang, a level 7 light magician with B-rank talent. Murong Shui, a level 8 assassin with A-rank phantom veil talent. And their leader Murong Yu, a level 9 swordsman with the golden divine lion skill and A-rank talent. They got overwhelmed when they saw the Murong siblings. For most of them, it was their first time seeing them. They find them so dashing. They could tell that the temperament is worthy of the Murong family's golden divine group. Tianho got intrigued. He saw that the Murong siblings have a title that is difficult to obtain. He wondered why they were there. Unlike the ordinary people, those family classes usually enter the Black Abyss through specific teleportation gates. But there are also family classes who come to form teams and choose to enter the Black Abyss with the ordinary folk. But Tianho saw that they already have a party, so it was a puzzle on what they're doing there. Dong introduced himself to the female Murong. But she snobbed him. Yunfei called her out for doing that. Murong Shui replied that it is sad that such a person has appeared among the holy warriors. Yunfei got angry. Dong stopped him. Then he stated that it's okay if she looks down on him, but he pointed out that Tianho is a piece of trash, and he must have used tricks to get on the top ranking. He warned Tianho that he got lucky, but next time they meet, he threatened him that he will learn what true power is. Then, he left. Qing was relieved that the barking dogs were finally gone. Yu talked to Tianho, the one who just changed the ranking. He took off his gloves and extended his hand. Our boy was puzzled that he's looking for him. Since he just stood there, Murong called him a fool and pointed out that her brother was offering him a handshake. Yu told her to calm down. Tianho said hello, but he looked like he had no idea how to act. Then, Qing grabbed his hand. Then she asked Yu if he's blind. She emphasized that he's already teamed up with her. Yu held back his anger and politely requested her to step aside since he is talking to him. But Qing dragged Tianho because she knew that Yu was trying to snatch Tianho from her. Murong Shui replied that she doesn't want to waste time either, and straightforwardly told them that they wanted him. The crowd was shocked and confused that the Murong family wanted to snatch a summoner, but given that Tianho isn't an ordinary summoner, it made sense. The Murong family also wanted to break the record, and teaming up with Tianho would be the fastest way. Qing fought back. She can't give him to them, otherwise her record will be gone. Hang told her to step aside because they wanted him. The crowd expressed their opinion. They told them that it's better to get more resources than fight the Murong family, especially when that party has 2 level A and 3 level B. Shui was also worried. He confirmed with Tianho that he doesn't want to team up with them. Qing replied that Tianho wouldn't dare. Yu told Qing that she doesn't have the power to decide for him and suggested that they ask him what he wants. Then Yu, as the Knight of the Golden Divine Lion, formally extended his invitation to Tianho. The screen appeared and he had the option to accept or decline. Qing argued that Tianho wouldn't do that, but he replied, sure. Qing's jaw dropped. Shui was surprised too. Then he firmly repeated his answer. Qing asked him again what he said, while Shui asked why. Yu commended him for being wise. Then he prompted him to accept the invitation on the screen. Tianho looked at it. Qing yelled at him not to do it. Yu tempted him by saying that they could break records together, and that's a win-win situation. Tianho pressed reject, and everyone was surprised. Murong Shui asked him what was the meaning of it, but Yu stopped her non-verbally. Tianho told them to relax. He clarified that he's going to join them, but they have to agree to some of his conditions. That angered Murong Shui. She told him that letting him join them as a summoner is already a great favor, and he's being ungrateful. Tianho took that as they are not willing to negotiate. Yu stopped him and asked what his demands were. He replied that it was just small conditions. He told them that after entering the Black Abyss, everyone must listen to his orders. Second, no one can steal his experience without his permission. And third, all loot from killing monsters is his. His conditions are insane, and that angered the party. The crowd even reacted that it's unreasonable, but someone argued that it's the party that's asking for help, so it isn't too unreasonable. But if they agree, it means that the Murong Guild will obey Tianho's orders, and if they don't, they won't make it to the rankings. It was a clever move. Tianho asked about their decision. The party members told their captain not to agree with it because the man was looking down on them. Qing looked proud of what he did. Qing taunts them by asking if they can't agree with it. Then she suggested that they go make it to the ranking themselves. The crowd gossiped that it was such a bold move to challenge the Murong Guild in public. When he broke the record, they knew even the mayor would have shown him respect. Yi was ready to teach Tianho a lesson. Yu reminded them not to forget the reason why they are there. He told Tianho that since he had no intentions of forming a team, he shouldn't tease them. Our MC replied that he can't just stand teams that use their powers to snatch people. His words offended Murong Shui. Yu warned him not to get too full of himself and that he shouldn't celebrate so soon, and they left. Qing also wanted to leave. Murong Shui had marked Tianho as her prey. After that, Tianho wanted to go back to the abyss. He knew that if they entered it 2 more times, they should be able to reach level 10. Suddenly, he sensed the eerie aura. Those 2 women were annoyed with him for tricking them when he didn't even plan to join them in the first place. They almost thought that he's an ungrateful and cold-hearted person. He asked them to hear him out. It was followed by his loud scream. The women made sure to give him lumps on his head, and they left him to go resupply. The next entry's cooldown timer started counting. It was at 1:23:41. Tianho complained that his head hurts. He didn't expect them to be so ruthless. Since there's still more than an hour before the next entry, he decided to go find a place to rest first. The experience he gained from defeating the unicorn allowed him to reach level 6 just in time. He had no idea what the unicorn's abilities are, so he decided to check it first. He tapped on the screen and summoned it. A bright light appeared. He shielded his eyes from it. Unexpectedly, nothing was there. Our boy was confused about where his summon is. The system notified him that the summoning failed, and he should check the status. Then, it showed that the summoned creature has yet to hatch. He asked if he wanted to confirm hatching. He replied yes. The hatching process started, but it would take 3 days to finish. He had no choice but to wait. Then he realized that he hadn't had the time to check the loot yet. He was excited to see what he got. He was confused when he saw the mail. When he opened it, it contained the historical record gift pack. Then he received a title called The Fastest Man. He wondered what that was supposed to even mean. He didn't dwell on it since checking the gift pack is more important. He has to open it for a chance to receive a high-level Black Abyss equipment, materials, potions, etc. He opened it. 2 chests appeared in front of him. One contained a Name Guardian armor which is usable by all classes. It increases HP by +50 and +1 defense. There's also 2 small EXP potions, and the description grants 50 EXP upon use. He was happy with it. He decided to check what's on the other box. His eyes bulged at what he saw. It was a silver-grade ice necklace. It has +50 magic and +10 spirit. It grants +5 ice resistance when equipped, reducing ice-type slow effect by 15%. He also received 1 EXP potion, which grants 150 EXP to the user upon use. And lastly, there was a Name Medium Healing Potion, which restores 150 HP upon use. He didn't expect it to actually drop silver-grade equipment. Equipment is ranked into 9 tiers: no grade, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, radiant, legendary, and divine. He didn't expect to get silver-grade gear right away. He felt so blessed. He equipped it. He could tell that it makes so much difference. It made him wear his game face. His stats showed his title, The Fastest Man. He is now at level 6 with HP of 1,100 plus 50, MP of 550 plus 50, attack 58, spirit 130 plus 10, defense 5 plus 1, agility 70, luck 26, and his talent Demon Sacrifice is at S grade. His skill is fully armed level 1, wherein the summoner's spirit power protects summoned beasts, slightly enhancing their stats for 180 seconds. His summoned beasts are Demon Slime and Ice Unicorn, which is currently hatching. He reached the summon beast capacity of 2 out of 2 and had 2 skill points remaining. He was happy to find that his stats increased a lot, and he went all out in spending his skill points. His fully armed level 1 increased to level 3. It means that summoning beasts consumes less spirit power, doubles their stats, and lasts 200 seconds. He expected it to save him some time when running dungeons. The next thing he did was to level up the slime, so he summoned it. He planned to make a sacrifice of 100, but he found out that he could still advance. The screen displayed that he has 6 levels until advancement. He got so excited about what will happen if he advances, but he didn't find anything. He just decided to go for it. He tapped yes, and waited. From his HP 1100, it decreased to 500. A gust of wind formed around the slime. It was so powerful that it became a tornado. He watched and waited. The slime slowly revealed flesh. Tianho was in awe. Meanwhile, at the Black Abyss Plaza, it was about their meeting time, but Tianho wasn't there. Zoe suggested that she checks the team panel. She did that. She was confused when she found him running into the forest. She decided to go find him. Zhou followed her. Back to our MC, Tianho was watching a red cloud form. He had no idea what it was. When it settled, it showed a slime in demi-human female. Seeing her voluptuous body, it made him blush, especially when she's not wearing any clothes. The slime was happy to see him. It walked like a gorilla and approached him. He was startled, especially when it jumps towards him and landed above him. It straddled him, which made its boob cover his face. The slime was confused when he froze. His face turned red. Then he grabbed her arm. Then he removed her from him while vowing that he would never have a reaction towards his summons. He took out clothes from his inventory, then offered it to her. She looked at it and absorbed it. And it was displayed through her body. He clarified that it's for her to wear. He took it and helped her wear it. It made him feel like a dad. After putting that on, it showed an increase of 0.1 in defense. Tianho just learned that summoned creatures can wear gear. He suspected that it's because it was a humanoid. Then he decided to check the new stats of the slime. From level 9, it leveled up to level 15. HP increased from 1600 to 2700, attack from 150 to 205, agility from 130 to 160, defense 9 to 20 plus 0.1, and 2 skills have been added. One is an AoE, and the other is a single target attack skill. Those skills are Corrosive Acid Rain, where it throws a part of its body to form rain clouds, releasing highly corrosive acid rain on a targeted area, causing continuous damage. And the second one is Demon's Embrace. Once wrapped by tentacles covered in strong acid, the opponent will taste the horrors of hell. It deals high continuous damage to the target. He checked and saw that the Corrosive Rain is an upgraded skill, while the other must be learned at advancement. Those 2 skills seem pretty strong, so he got excited to try it out. Meanwhile, Qing and Jue were puzzled on why Tianho is going deep into the forest. She checked her map, and they went ahead. Eventually, she found him. From her point of view, it looked like he's doing something sketchy with a woman. Shui expressed that she's exhausted. She asked if that was the place. She blushed at what she saw. While Qing was furious as she asked him what he's doing, Tianho was surprised to see them. He asked what they were doing there. Qing had her fist balled while she asked if they're disturbing his good time. Tianho turned pale. They called him a pervert. That caused him several more bumps on his head. Qing reasoned that she had no way of finding out that it was an advanced slime. She blamed him for not explaining. He reasoned that she didn't even give him a chance. Then he asked why they were there. Qing replied that the meeting time was up, so they had to find him to enter the Black Abyss. He explained that he was resting there and forgot to check the time. Then the screen showed up and asked if they were going to enter. Since everyone was there, they decided to enter already. They were engulfed with a bright light. Meanwhile, the Hmong party had killed several monsters already, and they are frustrated because there were no signs of what they're looking for. Yu had a sour expression. He realized that someone beat them to it. He couldn't believe someone got it first. Hang asked what they should do now. Yi suggested that whoever it is, they can just offer a high price to buy it back. Hang smacked him for being foolish. First of all, it is a 1,000-year mythical beast, and second, it's a secret mission. Xiaolin looked really haggard as he suggested that it could have been snatched up by another guild. Murong Shui yelled at them to shut up. She suggested that it must have been taken by a rogue team. Rogue is a term for unaffiliated guildless players. She stated that no other guild had the fragments, so they couldn't have known the unicorn had awakened, unless a team already inside the abyss ran into it and took it down. Yu replied that Xiaoxue, his sister, was right since the abyss is showing signs of instability, and the beast had awakened earlier than expected. He added that aside from them, the Golden Lions, no other guild could have known ahead of time. So, with the mythical beast dead and the abyss acting up, the difficulty level is about to spike. He wondered who on earth had defeated it. Xiaoxu suggested to her brother that if someone took it, since there weren't many teams that just came out of the abyss, they could just kill them and take it back, especially the arrogant little punk. She's pertaining to Tianho. Yu refused because the Golden Lions don't slaughter innocent people, and he knew that someone capable of defeating a hidden boss can't be weak. But he suspected that the unicorn was with Tianho. Yu told them that it was enough and ordered them to head back to HQ to report first before deciding. He reiterated that they should follow and return to the guild. He stabbed the ground with his sword, and they were enveloped with bright light, which teleported them out from there. Meanwhile, Tianho was freezing inside the abyss. Sui chanted a spell to help with it. Qing told them that they should move fast. Tianho is getting annoyed with her princess attitude. This bitch. They traversed the forest. They arrived at the place where the first corrupted direwolf spawned. Qing wanted to use them as her warm-up. The grass made a rustling sound. Qing was fired up to fight. Suddenly, the direwolves appeared. Shui was surprised that there were 5 at once. Tianho thinks that the monster count at the first spawn point quadrupled. Qing didn't mind that there's 5. She was confident that she could take them down in one hit. She called Shui. Shui replied that she's ready. She played her small harp. Her music affected those monsters, and Qing ended them in one strike. Then she commented that it was too easy. They observed that Qing's upgraded damage is nearly hitting 400 in a single strike. She really proves herself as a combat class. Tianho looked like there's something on his mind. Qing stated that no matter how many monsters there are, she would take it down one by one. Tianho wanted to know why there are more direwolves. He asked if it was just a coincidence, but Qing and Shui didn't bother about it. They called him to hurry up. Tianho knew that his question would be answered on the next spawn. The sky turned dark. Tianho could sense that there's something strange. Qing told Shui to keep buffing and she'd clear the place. Shui asked her to calm down. Tianho was spooked. The ground shook, the snow swelled, and a monster appeared. Tianho realized that these monsters were hiding beneath the snow, and they were in hunting formation. They were now being surrounded. Plus, there's too many of them too. Shui got worried. She asked what they should do. Tianho could tell that the attacks aren't random. He suspected that the monsters had developed intelligence. The monsters started attacking. Qing helped Shui to get up quickly, while Tianho just stood there. He took a deep breath and faced the large monster, while the direwolves attacked him from behind. Even Qing got scared. She thought they're done for. Even when the wolves were ready to eat them, Tianho could still smirk. Then he raised his hand and yelled for the demon slime. Now, the party is about to get started. Meanwhile, at the Abyss Plaza, the skies turned dark. The people there were alarmed, since the ground shook, and when they looked at the entrance, there was a movement. Someone begged for help. Several people were thrown out, but their bodies were already dismembered. That surprised everyone. Some even vomited. They asked what the hell happened. A man with his lower half cut off informed them that the abyss was erupting. They were left confused. These men who were in uniform asked what an abyss eruption was. The screen showed that the deceased workers were being transported to the Hall of the Fallen, and when they checked the surroundings, all of them were dead. The portal kept spitting skeletons. The people were frozen in shock. Suddenly, the screens appeared. It showed that the abyss difficulty has changed. It has been a nightmare. It was too dangerous, and a lot of the people knew that they couldn't handle it. They hurriedly decided to notify the mayor. A policeman took out his radio. Meanwhile, inside the abyss, Tianho was surrounded by direwolves. He summoned his slime. The direwolf on his side attacked first, but Tianho remained calm. He trusted his slime to do the work, and it attacked the other monsters too. The slimes have scattered everywhere. Seeing how it crushed the other monsters, the large monster got scared. Corpses lay everywhere. The humanoid slime jumped out and clung onto Tianho. Qing and Shui were impressed by how strong he is. Tianho told them to fall back for now. They didn't hesitate to do so. Qing had noticed that the monsters were stronger than before. It made her worry if he really can handle them alone. Tianho stood in front of all those monsters. He taunted them. He uttered, "Come on! I'll beat you so hard your mom won't recognize you!" In response, those monsters roared loudly. It was freaking effective. The direwolves howled as it ran towards him. One of them planned to bite his leg. He ordered Slime to hold them off. She remained clinging to him while doing what was told. The direwolf had its eyes on them, and it attacked. Shui got worried since Tianho is being attacked from all sides. Qing knew that the Wolf King and the direwolves are on a whole different level. It would mean that he's in real danger now. Tianho told the slime to defend. It created something like a large tentacle, and that formed their defense. The direwolves bit into it, instead of Tianho. Qing and Shui were surprised to see that. The direwolves received damage just from biting into it. They saw that it was losing HP. It was because the slime mucus is corrosive. Another direwolf attacked, and intentionally bit into it. It ripped the slime apart while only receiving low damage. Tianho commented that things are getting interesting. Shui asked what they should do since the defense line is falling apart. Qing told her to keep healing her. More monsters attacked Tianho. They ran towards him while others clung on to the tentacle-ish barrier. The women need to be careful since those monsters are rushing in. The monsters continued to receive damage just from biting the slime. Tianho noticed that those monsters were working in coordination. He's now confident to say that they had developed intelligence. Two large monsters were about to attack him side by side. Shui came out from hiding and yelled at him to watch out. Qing pulled her aside and yelled if she's crazy. Shui was worried for Tianho. Qing replied that she'll think of something, but she was in a pinch. She had a vial with red liquid, and she felt that she had no choice but to use it. It was a vitality potion that temporarily enhances physical stats for 1 minute. The downside is that she would take double damage after the effect ends. She just went for it. She opened the vial and closed her eyes as she started to drink it. Tianho told the slime to strike now. Shui and Qing were puzzled on what's going on. The monster lost its balance. They were surprised that it got blasted away, and it fell on the snow. Slime and Tianho came out unscathed. Tianho gathered his power. He raised his hand in the air and activated the skill embrace of the demon. It dealt powerful damage to the monster, and the monster's body dissolved. Only the bones remained. The system notified him that the zombie Wolf King had been slain, and experience would be rewarded. Jui celebrated, while Qing couldn't believe that he actually crushed a level 10 zombie Wolf King with his bare hands. The direwolf whimpered in fear. The zombie monster beside it glanced at it and hammered it. Another zombie monster approached, and their bodies fused. It is a fusion skill called Rot Hammer Storm. It steadied its footing and twirled until it created a zombie tornado. Qing couldn't believe that a low-level Black Abyss monster can use fusion skills. After the monsters fused, both their defense and attack power skyrocketed. She was worried that Tianho wouldn't be able to hold out. She yelled at him to watch out. The tornado continued. The slime hugged Tianho's torso and carried him away. He was surprised. The slime was getting sucked into the tornado. When its body touched the tornado, it dispersed and it received damage. Tianho knew that if they got hit, it would be game over. Shui cried and asked what they should do. Qing told him that he doesn't have any permission to die yet. She gripped the vial and drank the liquid. The small pebbles near her were moved when her body got engulfed with fire. She was unrecognizable. She's topless too. Shui couldn't believe her eyes. Qing had transformed into a bear spirit form. She immediately set out and charges directly to the tornado. Xiu froze when she saw the bear. The shock was too much and she passed out. Her body collapsed onto the ground. Qing didn't expect the elixir to let her reach the white bear form. She saw Tianhao getting trapped inside the tornado. She knew she had to help him. She activated her skill, beast form, white bear. She let out a thunderous roar. Tianhao panicked when he saw another monster appear. He immediately ordered Slime to retreat. To his surprise, Slime didn't move. Then Slime bolted forward as fast as it could, but Tianhao was still anxious. He couldn't shake the enemy. When he saw the massive bear silhouette behind him, his heart sank. He was certain he was about to die. He clenched his teeth and braced for the impact. But after a moment passed, he realized he was unharmed. Then someone shouted his name. It was Qing. She had raised a barrier, blocking the hammer attack. She yelled at him not to freeze up and to attack. Tianhao activated Slime's demonic embrace. Slime's tentacles stretched and thickened. Qing was stunned by the sheer power. But the moment she lost focus, the fused monster slammed into her. It began to spin and accelerate. She realized it was forming another tornado and shouted for Tianhao to hurry. Tianhao stayed calm. He wasn't about to let them use the same trick twice. He gave a command to Slime. Slime's tentacles shot forward. They wrapped tightly around the monster's limbs and neck. Tianhao clenched his fist. That was the signal. The monster exploded. Qing finally relaxed when she saw the enemy fall. Tianhao thanked her, saying her timing saved his life. If she hadn't arrived, he would have been finished. His health bar was already critical. Still, he couldn't help but wonder why he had never seen her turn into a bear before. Qing checked her status and saw she only had 4,676 health points left. It was dangerously low. She prepared herself for the backlash. Pain ripped through her body, forcing her to her knees. Then she collapsed onto the ground. Tianhao rushed over, shocked and confused. Her body partially reverted to human form. She coughed up blood, and Tianhao saw her health drop to just 10 points. One more hit would have killed her. He quickly pulled out a potion from his bag. He helped her drink it. Slowly, her strength returned. The white fur covering her body faded away, leaving her naked. Tianhao let out a sigh of relief when he saw she was okay. As he looked at her, he suddenly felt something soft. When he realized what it was, his face turned bright red. Qing looked confused when he suddenly called her name. Tianhao's face was completely red, and a nosebleed streamed down. She quickly realized she was naked and immediately called him a pervert. He tried to explain that he was innocent, but she punched him before he could finish. He crashed onto the ground. After putting on her clothes, she walked toward him with an angry glare. She accused him of assault and warned him that if he told anyone about this, she would kill him. Noticing her flushed cheeks, Tianhao realized she was deeply embarrassed. She grabbed his collar and demanded to know if he heard her. He quickly said yes and insisted he didn't see anything. Only then did she let go. Still, she warned him to watch his mouth. Tianhao could tell she wasn't joking about the threat. She then went to check on Xue. Tianhao promised he would take the secret to his grave. They found Xue nearby. She was sleeping peacefully, and even snoring. Tianhao was stunned that she could sleep in such a dangerous situation. He shook her awake. She slowly regained consciousness. The first thing she screamed was, "Don't eat me!" Tianhao asked her if a monster that wanted to eat her would really let her sleep that long. Qing explained that all the monsters were already wiped out, so it was safe. Xue hesitantly asked if that was true. Tianhao confirmed it. Suddenly, Xue hugged him tightly, relieved that they were all alive. Tianhao awkwardly said it was all thanks to Qing arriving just in time. His face turned bright red. Qing quickly pulled Xue away. Xue then suggested they discuss what to do next. Tianhao brought up how the Black Abyss had become much harder. Qing agreed. She also noticed the monster numbers had increased, and their strength was far higher than before. Xue asked what they should do. Tianhao suggested leaving the Black Abyss since the situation wasn't in their favor. They all agreed. None of them wanted to risk their lives recklessly. Tianhao opened the system screen. A warning appeared. Exiting early would cause a level reduction penalty. Even so, he confirmed the exit. It failed. All of them froze in shock. Then they noticed the Black Abyss difficulty had changed. It was now listed as a special difficulty. Nightmare. Zhui trembled, realizing they might be trapped. Qing told her not to panic. Even if the difficulty increased, it was still the beginner Black Abyss, and it wasn't unbeatable. Tianhao agreed. The level cap hadn't changed, only the difficulty. Xue argued that even normal monsters were already incredibly tough, let alone the bosses. Tianhao suggested they level up to level 10 as quickly as possible first. He didn't say it out loud, but a bad feeling lingered in his chest. Qing told Xue to follow her. Xue looked confused and asked why they weren't staying together. Tianhao explained that splitting up meant they wouldn't share experience, allowing them to level faster. Since he didn't fight directly, staying with him wouldn't help much. She understood. She went with Qing and told Tianhao they would regroup once everyone reached level 10. Tianhao was left alone. An hour later, he had defeated several wolves alongside Slime. He finally reached level 10. But by then, exhaustion weighed heavily on his body. Although the three of them were capped at level 10, the Black Abyss had no limit on summoned creatures. However, Tianhao knew his summons required sacrifices to level up, which made growth far more difficult. The demonic slime was at beginner rank, level 15. It had 2,700 health points, 205 attack, 160 agility, and 20.1 defense. Its skills included corrosive slime, slime spit, demonic dance, split, acid rain, and demonic embrace. Even with that, Tianhao felt his progress was still too slow. He wondered if it was because of his class. He held the title Giant Among Men, and his class was Summoner. At level 10, he had 2,000 plus 50 health points, 750 plus 50 magic points, 80 attack, 170 plus 10 intelligence, 9 plus 1 defense, 140 agility, and 34 luck. His talent was Demon Sacrifice, ranked S tier. His skill was Full Armament, level 3, which reduced intelligence consumption when protecting summons and doubled a summon's stats for 200 seconds. He currently had 2 summoned beasts, Demonic Slime and an Ice Unicorn, that was set to hatch in 69 hours and 34 minutes. He wished the unicorn would hatch sooner. One more summon meant less pressure on him. He checked a book to see if there was a way to speed it up, and he actually found one. While he was reading, wolves suddenly surrounded him. He sensed that a boss was approaching. Snow and debris were thrown into the air as it moved closer. Tianhao grew worried. It felt like the wandering corpse commander had awakened. Then, he heard someone screaming for help. Zhui and Qing were being chased by it. Zhui slipped. Qing turned back to save her. She activated the skill Spirit Cat, Shadow Step. But they were blasted away when the monster attacked. At that moment, Zhui had completely run out of mana. Another attack was coming. Qing stepped in front of her. Suddenly, a strange sensation ran through her body. She couldn't move. The attack landed, dealing minus 2,230 damage. Tianhao immediately ordered his slime to act. The slime formed a net and caught both of them. They barely managed to fall into it safely. Tianhao rushed over and asked if they were okay. Qing groaned in pain. She couldn't feel her arm. Suddenly, a tornado formed nearby. Tianhao looked up. From within the spinning wind, a massive foot and 2 pairs of glowing eyes appeared. When the wind dispersed, a gigantic figure was revealed. This wandering corpse commander was far stronger than before, and it looked completely different. This one almost looked human. This creature was the Winter Valley Abyss boss, Wandering Corpse Commander. It was level 10, with 30,000 health points, 180 attack, 150 agility, and 20 defense. Its skills included Corruption Hammer, where basic attacks applied a corruption effect that caused the target to take 20% more damage from the boss for 10 seconds. It also had Corpse Summon, calling in 2 wandering corpses and 4 wandering wolves every 100 seconds. Another skill was Ice Armor, which formed protective ice armor and increased its defense by 20. This boss was a corpse reanimated by dark power, lurking in the mountain valley and hunting travelers. The glowing crystal core embedded in its chest was its weak point. Qing knew they couldn't beat it head-on and told Tianhao to run. The boss stomped the ground. Their escape route vanished. The system confirmed they had entered battle. Even though it was nightmare difficulty, it was still a beginner boss. Tianhao steadied himself. As long as he could destroy the crystal in its chest, there was still a chance. The boss summoned its reinforcements and ordered them to attack. Tianhao responded instantly and commanded the slime to use demonic dance. The lesser monsters dissolved one by one. The slime surged forward toward the boss. Tianhao activated Full Armament, instantly doubling the slime's stats. Its health rose to 2,700 plus 2,700, attack to 205 plus 205, agility to 160 plus 160, and defense to 20.1 plus 20. It activated Split, Demonic Dance, and Corrosive Slime. Now there were 2 slimes. They began circling the boss. The slimes rushed toward the boss's feet. One of them was instantly crushed under its step. Tianhao's heart skipped a beat. The other slime was struck next. It was sent flying into a boulder and slammed hard into it. It went down. Tianhao immediately ordered it to retreat. That was when he realized it. Slime wasn't enough. The boss summoned more reinforcements. With no other choice, Tianhao attempted the acceleration summoning spell he had just read about. He began chanting. The monster swarmed him as he did. Time was running out. Then, out of nowhere, the monsters were cut down. Qing had returned to help him, but she pushed herself too far and coughed up blood. Tianhao kept chanting, even as the boss raised its weapon to strike. He knew he wouldn't finish in time. Suddenly, a golden light enveloped them. It shone brilliantly. Tianhao froze, confused. Shui shouted that it was a defense aura. He saw the incoming attack and felt his chest tighten. Zhue yelled at him to hurry. Her defense aura was only level 1. It wouldn't last long. He chanted faster. The defense aura shattered. The boss's weapon slammed into the ground. The shockwave blasted Zhu away. Our boy forced himself to look up as the egg began to crack. At the same time, the slime restrained the boss's arm. Finally, Tianhao completed the chant. The slime was violently torn away. The boss noticed a glowing blue light. It raised its weapon again. But the light was blinding. Tianhao stared in disbelief. It worked. The unicorn emerged. The boss recoiled in shock. Its limbs were instantly covered in ice. Qing was barely conscious, but she could sense something was wrong. The boss had entered its second stage. With what little strength she had left, she told them to run. Tianhao ordered the unicorn to move. The unicorn charged toward the boss. Wind spiraled violently around its horn. The unicorn leaped toward the boss. By then, the crystal core in its chest had been encased in ice. The unicorn shattered the ice and struck the core directly. The boss's body was instantly obliterated. Qing stared in disbelief. Despite having 30,000 health points, the boss was defeated in a single hit. Tianhao was stunned as well. He asked the unicorn how it felt. The unicorn looked back at him calmly. This special frost unicorn was level 1, with 500 health points, 20 attack, 15 agility, and 10 defense. Its skills were charm, pierce, and the ultimate skill, rainbow horn. Tianhao gently patted it and praised it. The slime climbed onto his back, clearly wanting attention too. He praised the slime as well. Without it, they would have been completely wiped out. Tianhao then asked the two girls if they were all right. Qing admitted she didn't expect to be saved by him again. She asked if that unicorn was his new summoned beast. She said it was terrifying that a level 1 summon could defeat the Wandering Corpse commander. Even Tianhao hadn't expected that much damage. Qing explained that the Wandering Corpse commander was a dark attribute monster, while the unicorn was a dual attribute summon of light and frost. That attribute advantage was likely why the damage was so overwhelming. Tianhao finally understood. The system announced their success in killing the Wandering Corpse commander. They watched as the reward calculation began. Since the difficulty was nightmare, all rewards were doubled. It was the first clear, with a completion time of 3 hours and 27 minutes. They received the first clear bonus, the time bonus, and an additional attack bonus for the one-hit kill. The evaluation finished, and they waited for the equipment to drop. Suddenly, Tianhao was transported to a dark space. An ominous floating box appeared in front of him. The item was called Purgatory Spirit Cube, a legendary summoner-exclusive equipment. It reduced attack by 30, defense by 50, and agility by 60, but increased mana by 200. Tianhao was confused. He couldn't understand why a legendary item would lower stats. Then he read further. The cube had 3 active effects. First, after defeating an enemy, their soul could be sealed and stored inside the cube. Second, by consuming 5 souls, the soul of the deceased could be attached to a summoned creature. Third, it unlocked at level 10. It also had a passive effect that unlocked at level 4. The description stated it was a spirit from the land of darkness, a guardian of forbidden sins. Tianhao didn't fully understand how the abilities worked. A light above him caught his attention. The Purgatory Spirit Cube shot a beam of light toward it. He saw that the cube now contained 1 soul, the Nightmare Rank leader's soul. The soul of the Wandering Corpse commander had been sealed inside. The cube automatically collected souls after battle. Suddenly, a white wolf leaped onto him. Tianhao panicked. Then the wolf transformed back into Qing. She laughed, saying she just wanted to scare him. He thought it was another monster and asked how she turned into a wolf when she was supposed to be a spirit cat. Qing explained that she obtained special equipment. It was called Immortal Bird Feather, an epic druid exclusive item. It doubled attack and agility. Tianhao checked its effects and thought it was better than his own equipment. The feather also had a passive effect that doubled the duration of all druid transformations. Its first active effect allowed her to transform into a deadly frost wolf known for speed. The second allowed her to transform into a brown bear, known for strength. The final effect used the power of the immortal bird to transform into an immortal bird fighter, though it came with serious side effects. Tianhao asked what an immortal bird fighter even was. Qing admitted she didn't know either. Because of the side effects, she planned to be cautious with it. Tianhao advised her not to use it for now, especially after such a hard battle. Shui suddenly called out to them. They turned and saw something small flying near her. Tianhao asked what it was. Shui smiled and said that from now on, she could protect them too. A tiny pixie landed gently on her hat. Shui was delighted with the new equipment she received. It was incredibly powerful. The equipment was Sakran's magic hat, a rare set that included a magic hat she already owned, along with a staff, robe, and necklace. The attributes would only activate when the full set was equipped. She had never heard of Sacred before. Qing hadn't either, so she suggested that once they finished the dungeon, they should return to school and ask their teacher. Tianhao checked the hat's passive effects. It summoned a protective spirit, tripled all magic effects, and allowed Saccharin to actively attack. Active effects 1 and 2 were still locked. He pointed at the pixie and said that it was probably Saccharin. He was amazed by how strong the passive effects were. When he compared it to his own reward, his cube felt much weaker. His summoned beasts moved closer to him, as if to comfort him. Tianhao smiled anyway. He was just grateful the unicorn had hatched. Without it, they would have been wiped out. Qing tried to pet the unicorn, but it turned its head away. However, it happily let Hui cuddle it. Qing grew annoyed and complained about why it wouldn't let her touch it. Tianhao suggested they leave the area first. The abyss difficulty had suddenly changed, and they had no idea what might happen next. He selected leave. A magic circle formed beneath their feet. They vanished. Then they emerged from the gate. Immediately, they attracted the crowd's attention. The men nearby blushed at the sight before them. Some even got nosebleeds from how beautiful she was. Tianhao was confused by their reactions. He turned to see what everyone was staring at. Standing there was a woman with blue hair, dressed in skimpy, goddess-like clothing. Even Tianhao got a nosebleed. The woman looked at him, called him master, and asked if he didn't recognize her. Only then did he realize she was the unicorn. Meanwhile, in a nearby area where medics were treating the injured, someone rushed to report to a teacher that something was wrong. The teacher asked what happened. The man told him that someone had exited the Black Abyss. The teacher immediately asked if anyone was injured. His expression turned serious as he ordered them to come with him at once. But the man quickly grabbed the teacher's arm. He clarified that no one was injured. In fact, everyone came out alive and well. The teacher was stunned. Suddenly, system screens appeared everywhere. An announcement echoed out. Tianhao, Qing, and Zhui had cleared the beginner rank Black Abyss, Cold Valley Abyss on Nightmare difficulty. At the same time, the unicorn politely greeted her master, Tianhao. He quickly told her not to come any closer. She grabbed his hand and asked if he didn't want her anymore. Flustered, he told her to just say what she wanted without moving closer. Zhui quietly asked Qing if she was seeing the same thing. Qing noticed Tianhao's hand pressing against the unicorn's chest. Her expression darkened. Her anger triggered a transformation. She lunged at him, slashing and calling him a pervert. Zhui asked Tianhao if he needed healing magic. He shouted that Shui was the best, unlike that violent woman. Shui blushed and said it was normal for teammates to help each other. Qing scoffed and placed her jacket over the unicorn. The unicorn suddenly stiffened. Tianhao noticed and asked what was wrong. That was when they saw several men in formal suits approaching. It was the principal. The men all wore displeased expressions as they looked at Tianhao. Before he could say anything, Shui calmly informed him that they were there. The principal heard her. In an instant, someone grabbed them. The principal sensed something was off, but when he turned around, no one was there. Tianhao was shocked. The teacher earlier had hushed him, warning that the principal would discover them. But Qing suddenly yelled, demanding to know who they were. Tianhao quickly told her to calm down and explained that the man was his teacher. The teacher's eyes were fixed on the unicorn. Tianhao asked him what was happening. He briefly explained that the Black Abyss had rioted, causing countless deaths. Then, pointing forward, he said it looked like they had found the cause. Tianhao thought he meant him. He asked if Tianhao had made a contract with the unicorn inside the abyss. Tianhao asked how he knew. The teacher couldn't believe it. Making a contract with it, and even hatching the egg, would definitely bring trouble. The kid was finished. Tianhao asked what he should do. At that moment, they were discovered. Men in black suits suddenly surrounded them. The principal gave the order to capture them. The men in suits stepped forward. The principal noticed a man and was about to question who he was. But when the man turned around, the principal recognized him and demanded to know why he was there, ordering him to step aside. The teacher tried to explain to his senior brother that Tianhao was a student from their school. Hearing that, Tianhao realized his teacher and the principal were fellow disciples. The principal flatly refused and announced that Tianhao, Qing, and Shui were expelled. The news hit the three like a thunderbolt. He formally declared their expulsion. They asked on what grounds. He coldly replied that it was his authority as principal. Tianhao argued that it made no sense to expel them without any investigation. The teacher backed him up. He added that Tianhao possessed an S-class talent, a once-in-a-century genius, and asked if the principal truly wanted to expel such a student. But the principal ordered him to leave. He was determined to take them away. The principal was under immense pressure at that moment. Suddenly, even more people appeared surrounding them. Then a voice told everyone to wait. The sound alone startled the principal. He turned toward the source. Tianhao, Qing, and Shui followed his gaze. The speaker stepped forward. It was a girl in a black dress holding a black umbrella. A maid and a guard stood beside her. She already knew he was the one who cleared the Black Abyss on nightmare difficulty. Tianhao asked who the little girl was. Being called a little girl offended her. She introduced herself as Anjing Yao, princess of the DuPont royalty. Tianhao had no idea what the DuPont royalty even was. The principal treated her with utmost respect and said the suspect was already under control and would be taken away for interrogation, but she told him to release them. The maid stepped forward and revealed a teleportation scroll. They planned to take them back to the Black Abyss. The teacher was stunned. He had heard rumors that the century-hidden dungeon, Rift Valley Black Abyss, would appear in a few days, but he never expected the royal family to already possess a teleportation scroll. Still, he was deeply worried. The Black Abyss dungeon had a recommended level of 20 to 50, and Tianhao had only just reached level 10. If he entered now, he would be the first to die. Jing Yao suddenly called Tianhao a peasant. She then ordered him to join the DuPont royal family's Rift Valley Black Abyss exploration team. Tianhao replied that he wasn't interested. That response angered her. The principal insisted that he had to take Tianhao back since he was still their student. That only annoyed Jing Yao even more. She hated being interrupted while speaking. The maid calmly reminded the principal that he had already expelled them. He argued back that the expulsion hadn't been processed yet, so they were still officially his students. The maid stepped forward and pressured him, asking if he was defying the royal family's orders. The principal fell silent. Zhui quietly asked Tianhao what they should do. Jing Yao reminded Tianhao that many eyes were now on him after he cleared the Black Abyss on nightmare difficulty. Tianhao glanced around. He saw guards surrounding them. Their presence also intimidated Shui and Qing. Qing suddenly said she would join. Tianhao was shocked. She explained that if they stayed, they would be captured anyway, so it was better to take the risk. Jing Yao asked Tianhao for his final decision. The teacher urgently told him not to go. Entering the Black Abyss now would be suicide. Tianhao thought it over. Then he decided to join. Seeing that, Shui was influenced and chose to go as well. Jing Yao was clearly pleased. The maid ordered Principal Feng to release them. He had no choice but to comply. The teacher told Feng to stop this. Feng replied that he had already tried earlier. Now the students were on their own. The teacher could only feel regret. One of the guards stepped forward and introduced himself as Zuo Sheng, captain of the DuPont royal family's Royal Swordsman Guard. The chief butler was Lucy. She had a cold expression, but her strength was obvious. With the team formed, Jing Yao told them to follow her. A tornado suddenly formed in front of them. In the next moment, they were teleported into a long hallway where Jing Yao was immediately greeted by maids. A massive door slowly opened. They couldn't help but feel amazed by the extravagant room inside. Shui whispered to Qing that something felt off. Qing asked her what she meant. Before they could react, they froze. Swords and guns were suddenly aimed at them. Jing Yao laughed and said new students were incredibly easy to scam. She then ordered Lucy to act, but everyone was caught off guard when slime suddenly wrapped around them. Lucy panicked as she saw the slime's devilish grin. Tianhao stared at Jing Yao and asked what she was planning to do. Jing Yao paused. She realized that he had already noticed. He snapped his fingers. The slime immediately released Lucy and Sheng. Tianhao had already noticed something on the way here. Even though Sheng looked relaxed, his thumb never left the sword hilt. Lucy, on the other hand, was always ready to draw her gun. As expected from a rookie team that cleared the Black Abyss on nightmare difficulty, his observation was sharp. Jing Yao asked why he released them, when his summons clearly had the advantage. Tianhao replied that they were in her territory. If a fight broke out, both sides would suffer heavy injuries. At the same time, maids quietly entered the room, knives hidden in their hands. He added that even if her level was higher than all three of them, it didn't mean they wouldn't fight back. Lucy bowed slightly and explained that the princess only wanted to test his strength. She apologized on Jing Yao's behalf. That apology left Qing feeling bitter. Jing Yao then told them that lunch had already been prepared before their departure. They left the room together. Qing whispered that the royals didn't seem kind at all and suggested they could fight them together if needed. Tianhao replied that even if he acted first, he could guarantee that the women would be the first to die. He told them to stay calm and see what the royal family was planning. As they walked down the hallway, they noticed murals painted along the walls. Sheng explained that they depicted the history of the DuPont royalty. The DuPont royal family had existed for thousands of years, and their founding ancestor was a summoner. When abnormalities erupted in the Dark Abyss long ago, the DuPont royalty allowed 3 royal families to attempt sealing it. They failed in the final battle. During that battle, Jing Yao's great-grandfather had his soul shattered. From that moment on, summoners lost their connection to spirit stones. Because of that, future summoners were branded as useless, and now Tianhao was the only S-class summoner to appear in 1,000 years. They entered the dining hall. It became clear that Tian Hao was the true target of all this. She quietly wondered if he was being offered as a sacrifice to the ancestors. Tian Hao was stunned and told her she had been reading too many novels. When he saw the dining area, even he felt overwhelmed. Shui and Qing felt the same way. The place was far too luxurious. Once they were seated, Tian Hao directly asked how he could help them. Jing Yao explained that the hidden dungeon contained clues about the final battle, and she believed Tian Hao was the key to uncovering them. Lucy assured him that despite the dungeon's high level, they would protect him. Any rewards obtained would also be given to him. Sheng added that the three of them weren't weak. With crystal-grade equipment, clearing the dungeon was possible. That made Tian Hao suspicious. He asked how they knew about their crystal-grade gear. Jing Yao pointed at his hat and revealed that it was a relic of the Typhoon Royalty Sage and the strongest magic hat in Sakran's Omen set. Shui immediately hugged the hat and asked if that was really true. Jing Yao replied that she would explain everything during the journey. Since everyone had finished eating, she suggested they leave. Everything moved incredibly fast. The dining table floated into the air. A magic circle was revealed beneath it. Jing Yao gave Lucy the order. Lucy stepped into the center of the magic circle. Sheng warned them that it was starting. Lucy channeled her power, causing the magic circle to glow. Her muscles bulged as the energy surged. Then she unwrapped the scroll. A violent wind erupted. Light exploded outward. It swallowed the entire area. They entered the portal. Lucy informed the princess that they would be waiting on the other side. Jing Yao asked Tian Hao if he was ready. They stayed wary of her. She could tell they didn't trust the Dupont royals yet. Still, she knew Tian Hao understood how dangerous the situation was. She only hoped he could see the bigger picture. Then she stepped into the portal. Shui quietly asked Qing what they should do. Qing stayed silent. Tian Hao told them they were going in. That surprised both of them. He explained that those people were strong, so letting them do the heavy lifting was a smart move. Then he promised that as long as he was alive, neither of them would get hurt. The words made both women blush. After that, they entered the portal. At the same time, inside the Holy Golden Lion Union. Hang the Magician reported bad news to his superior. He had just received confirmation that not only had the hidden dungeon, Black Abyss, been cleared, but the level 80 nightmare boss had also been killed. Murong Shui and the others couldn't believe it. Yi exploded in rage. Not only had they lost the dungeon rewards, but even the nightmare boss rewards were gone. He wanted to take everything back. Just shouted for them to stop. They were already outside the dungeon, and their behavior deeply disappointed him. Murong Shui argued that Tian Hao was the reason their mission failed. She asked if they were really just going to let him go. She looked uneasy. Yu remained silent. Suddenly, worried loud laughter echoed through the room. A man walked in, saying he was pleased to see their loyalty. He looked like a magician. Yu immediately acknowledged him as the union's president. The president said he would give them a chance to redeem themselves. He handed over a teleportation scroll leading to the hidden dungeon, Rift Valley Black Abyss. He explained that countless rewards awaited inside. Any adventurer who entered and survived would see a massive increase in strength. The members were terrified. The Rift Valley Black Abyss was a level 10 to 50 dungeon. The gap was enormous, and Murong Shui knew they had no chance. On top of that, the president revealed information from a reliable source. Several major unions and the 4 great royal families would also enter the dungeon to fight over the treasures. Naturally, the Holy Golden Lion Union couldn't afford to stay out. He admitted that at their current strength, they were unfit to challenge the Rift Valley Black Abyss. However, he had an idea. He released his power. A violent whirlwind formed. The members were pulled into it. They staggered as their expressions twisted. Yu raised his hand. With that motion, the wall shattered. Meanwhile, at the portal, Tian Hao and the 2 women crossed through. They looked around. Before them stood 2 gigantic statues facing each other, with a massive rift splitting the space between them. The land around was barren and desolate. Jing Yao praised Tian Hao for being wise. It made her think that the legends were true. Tian Hao asked what she meant. She took out a card, then handed it to him. It was a summon card, legendary grade. It can summon 3 shadow soldiers and they will fight until death. He froze. He couldn't believe she had just given him something so precious. She said it didn't matter. None of them could use it anyway. She would rather have him use it and increase their overall strength. Tian Hao examined the card, hesitated for a moment, then decided to activate it. Light burst from the card and wrapped around his body. When it faded, 3 women appeared, each wearing an eye mask. One had red hair, one purple, and one blue. Tian Hao instantly turned red. They had striking figures, and their outfits revealed far too much skin. The sight alone was enough to make his nose bleed. Qing snapped him out of it when she noticed the blood. Tian Hao hurriedly wiped his nose and muttered that the legendary card was huge. He quickly corrected himself and said it was powerful. The three women stepped closer. They called him master and leaned in far too close. Tianhao panicked and told them to stop because he couldn't handle it. Suddenly, Sheng sensed danger. He unleashed a dragon-soaring horizontal slash. Shui and Qing were startled. Lucy immediately rushed to Jingyao's side to guard her. Jingyao commented that Tianhao was still a rookie, since he hadn't noticed the threat at all. Tianhao turned his head. An explosion erupted in the distance. Sheng reported that it was a mad demon hedgehog, a level 30 monster. Xu turned pale. Sheng warned them that this was only the beginning. Several hedgehogs charged toward them. Lucy noticed one getting dangerously close. She kicked its head upward. As it flew into the air, its underbelly opened, revealing rows of sharp teeth. Lucy fired her gun, and it exploded mid-air. On the other side, Sheng faced another hedgehog. He slashed it cleanly with his sword. The remaining hedgehog burrowed into the ground. Tianhao prepared to use his slime. But before he could act, one of the summoned women leaped forward. She swung her hammer down and smashed the hedgehog head-on. Tianhao was stunned. At the same time, two hedgehogs charged straight at Jingyao. She lifted her hands, which glowed brightly. A barrier formed in front of her. Seeing that, Tianhao asked if she was a defense-type class. She clenched her fists. The barrier instantly exploded outward. Then she jumped down from where she had been sitting. She told him she was a high-grade psychic. That made Tianhao pause and wonder if she could hear his thoughts. The noise around them snapped his focus back. Shui had collapsed, and Qing was desperately trying to wake her up while Sheng checked on them. Lucy guessed that Tianhao had many questions, but she told him to focus on the most important thing right now, eliminating the monster ahead. He turned to look. His face went pale as he asked what that thing was. It looked like a massive boar. It let out a thunderous roar. This was the elite Boar King, level 30, with 5,000 health points, 100 attack, 220 agility, and 50 defense. Zhu and Qing grew even more frightened when they heard its level. To defeat a monster like this, an adventurer usually needed to be at least 5 levels higher. Both of them already wanted to retreat. The Boar King locked its eyes onto the group. Sheng took a combat stance. He struck its tusk with his blade. At the same time, Lucy fired from behind, but her bullets barely had any effect. Jingyao followed up by manipulating fire, triggering a powerful explosion. They waited for the smoke to clear. When it did, the Boar King stood there, angrier than before, nearly unharmed. Qing realized that at this pace, it would take them at least 2 hours just to bring it down. Tianhao noticed Sheng's hand trembling. That made him wonder if the monster was really so strong that even the royal family struggled against it. Sheng looked drained as he admitted that he couldn't cut through its hide. Jingyao explained that normal attacks didn't work on it. That was exactly why they had brought Tianhao here. She added that to kill a defensive monster like this, its defense had to be broken first. Sheng and Lucy re-engaged the Boar King. As Tianhao watched, something clicked. The Shadow Army could seep through any opening. If they could penetrate the Boar King's hide, they could kill it from the inside. Jingyao confirmed his thought. That meant Tianhao was the only one here who could finish it. Lucy warned the princess that they couldn't hold on much longer. Jingyao grew worried. Changing the form of the Shadow Army required immense psychic power. Even her grandfather had struggled with it in the past. Tianhao understood. He told Qing and Wei to cover him. Qing partially transformed. She burst forward at incredible speed, drawing the Boar King's attention. Then one of the summoned women leapt into the air. She slammed her hammer down, smashing into the Boar King. Jingyao's eyes widened. Tianhao had already learned how to strengthen a shadow weapon on his own. The Boar King let out a furious roar. The blue-haired summoned woman landed directly on its tongue. The Boar King clenched its teeth in rage as its fury exploded. The Boar King's body was pierced from the inside. Everyone froze as it collapsed on the spot. Tianhao admitted he hadn't expected the Shadow Army to be this effective. Sheng stood there, completely stunned. Lucy was just as shaken. She knew that without bonding for hundreds of years, it was impossible to control a Shadow Army with this level of precision. Jingyao cleared her throat and suggested it was probably just a coincidence. She didn't tell them that the Shadow Army also possessed scouting abilities. Shadowing could move freely through any terrain. It was the most effective scouting skill in existence, and no one had ever fully mastered it. Tianhao asked what she had just said. To her surprise, he had already drawn a map. However, he noticed it was incomplete, and began searching for the missing sections. Jingyao explained that the Rift Valley Black Abyss only opened once every 500 years. The difficulty was so extreme that no one had ever completed a full map. On top of that, Tianhao's Shadow Army level was still too low. It could only scout within a 3,000-meter range. Even so, it was already the largest map recorded in hundreds of years. They wondered out loud if the prophecy had finally been fulfilled. Jingyao nodded toward Tianhao. Then she asked him what level his summoning book was. He asked what she meant. Lucy explained that it was the entry-level summoning book, given during registration at the Summoner Association. She asked if he had one. Tianhao looked confused. He said he did have a book, but it wasn't from the association. It was given to him by his teacher. Shang suddenly realized something. Tianhao had used that broken book to clear nightmare difficulty in the cold abyss. That alone confirmed he was the genius everyone talked about. Then, Jingyao handed him a book. He thanked her and asked how to use it. She told him to inject mana into it. He did. The jewel on the book began to glow, making him ask what it was. The power it released shocked Jingyao. Suddenly, Jingyao, Lucy, and Sheng all dropped to one knee and pledged their undying loyalty. Tianhao was completely caught off guard. The book glowed even brighter. Shui and Qing watched closely as the book opened and its pages flipped on their own. Tianhao didn't try to stop it. The light intensified and images of monsters appeared. He realized the book was recording information on all summons. Another page flipped. It displayed detailed data about the slime. Then it flipped again and revealed information on the ice unicorn. Only then did he understand. It could record every detail of his summoned beasts. Qing became wary. Tianhao realized it was like carrying a living encyclopedia. Jingyao asked if something was wrong. He replied that he was fine. He told them to stand up and asked them to explain more about the book. Jingyao said they didn't fully understand it either. They only knew it had been left behind by an ancient sage. After the final battle, all knowledge related to summoners was lost. Over time, summoners gradually disappeared. The book circulated for 500 years before being discovered by her grandfather, who treated it as a priceless treasure his entire life. Her grandfather devoted his life to researching it. In the end, he only managed to make the jewel glow faintly. Lucy shared that the former king had only understood a small portion of the book, yet he still became one of the strongest masters on the mainland. Jingyao believed this was the chance for summoners to rise again after the catastrophe. Because of the former king's efforts, the DuPont royal family earned the respect of all nations. Before the former king passed away, he searched desperately for a summoner worthy of inheriting his legacy, but never succeeded. After his death, the surrounding nations grew bolder. That was why they found Tianhao and hoped he would help them. As long as he, the Lord Summoner, agreed to support them, and Jingyao, as the princess of the DuPont royal family, would dedicate the entire royal family to serving him. Tianhao was displeased. They had been testing him all this time, and only now, when they needed help, did they bow their heads. She admitted it and asked him to punish her for her actions. Lucy hurriedly begged for forgiveness. She explained that they had searched for a successor for years, but everyone they found was either untalented or a fraud. She added that the royal family poured endless resources into those candidates, but it was all wasted. They could no longer afford to gamble. Jingyao sharply told her to shut up. Tianhao asked if they weren't afraid that he might be a fake as well. Jingyao confidently replied no. He was the only person in 100 years who made the jewel shine that brightly. Her grandfather once said that anyone recognized by the book would become the king of the DuPont family. Qing asked if no one else had tried using the book. Sheng explained that many had tried, but those people were already bound to low-tier treasure books. Once a treasure book is bound, unless the summoner advances to the next stage, they cannot bind another treasure book. They had also tried forcing a bind, but it always ended in disaster. Tianhao hadn't registered at the Summoner Association, which was why he could bind to it directly. He corrected her and said he had earned it. Jingyao explained that if a summoner was not recognized by the treasure book, they would die. Tianhao was startled. He realized that failure would have meant death. They could only beg for forgiveness again. He told them to stop kneeling for no reason and ordered them to stand. He said he had no intention of punishing them. They obeyed. Jingyao then asked what was written inside the treasure book. Tianhao remembered that he now had a very thoughtful subordinate. He glared at her, releasing pressure. He told her to read his mind since she claimed to have that ability. It was a test to see how far she would dare to go. Jingyao was terrified. She said that even if she had the courage, she would never do such a thing. He challenged her again, saying that loyal subjects obey their king. In the end, she forced herself to comply. She was instantly horrified. Her legs gave out, and she wet herself. Her entire body trembled as Lucy rushed to support her. What she saw was Tianhao standing at the center of a terrifying aura, with several red demonic figures clinging to his arms, legs, and back. The scene was horrifying. Lucy helped her up and asked what she had seen. She stared at Tianhao. He calmly asked her to explain. She said she saw a red devil descending upon the mortal realm, one that would ignite a massive revolution. Tianhao reminded her to read his mind, not exaggerate. She bowed deeply and said she had seen a red demon standing behind him. He pointed at his shoulder and asked if she was calling it a demon when it only knew how to act cute. She said her grandfather once warned that if the Red Devil appeared, the world would drown in blood and carnage. She began to believe the DuPont royal family existed solely to serve him. Tianhao started to think she was insane. None of it made any sense. He remembered to collect the monster's soul. Taking out his cube, he separated the soul from the corpse. Jing Yao turned pale. Tianhao now possessed 2 elite monster souls. He wondered what would happen if he implanted a soul into one of his summons. Tianhao noticed that she suddenly fell silent. He was caught off guard when she stepped forward and hugged him. Her chest brushed against him. He blushed instantly, his nose bleeding as she promised that from this moment on, she would face any danger for his sake. Qing snapped in anger and yelled at her to let go of him, shouting that he wasn't someone she had the right to hug. Jing Yao fired back, calling her a commoner and telling her to shut up. She boldly claimed that Tianhao belonged to her. That only made Qing even angrier. Tianhao shoved Jing Yao away and yelled for them to stop arguing. He reminded them that they were still inside the rift. Jing Yao happily replied that she understood. He wiped away the nosebleed and asked Jing Yao why she had brought him into the rift dungeon in the first place. She was about to answer. Suddenly, Sheng and Lucy sensed danger. They shouted a warning as an arrow flew toward them. A purple beam shot out from Tianhao's Purgatory Spirit Cube. It exploded on impact. The Purgatory Spirit Cube continued to release eerie mist. Tianhao demanded to know who was there. A voice replied, sounding pleased that it had finally found him. He waited for the attacker to reveal themselves. Everyone was shocked when Song Xiaolan from the Golden Saint Lion Guild stepped forward. They asked how she managed to get here. She smiled and said he had made it difficult for them to track him down, but word spread quickly after he defeated the hidden boss of the Cold Valley Abyss. She loosed another arrow and mocked him, saying he wouldn't be lucky this time. The arrow shot into the sky. Above them, it exploded into a skull-shaped firework. She declared that the rift gem now belonged to them. Tianhao asked Jing Yao what a rift gem was. Jing Yao glared at Xiaolan with hostility. She told Tianhao she would explain later, and warned him that Xiaolan was extremely strong. Lucy pulled out her machine guns. She intended to end the fight immediately. She opened fire, unleashing a storm of bullets from both hands. Tianhao was shocked by her firepower. Xiaolan simply smiled. She stood still as every bullet bounced harmlessly off her body. Tianhao's face went pale. He hadn't expected the guns to be completely useless. An electric shield formed around Xiaolan. Lucy froze in disbelief. Xiaolan laughed at their expressions. She revealed that she wore a platinum-grade obsidian bracelet, immune to all physical attacks below level 50. No matter how strong the weapon, it was worthless against it. Tianhao began to doubt whether this was really the Song Xiaolan he knew from the Golden Saint Lion Guild. She felt like a completely different person. She raised her hand and activated her skill, Dark Rainstorm. The single arrow she fired multiplied. It rained down on them. Lucy wasn't afraid. Her guns were forged from refined steel and were incredibly durable, so she looked down on the incoming arrows. But to her shock, the arrows pierced straight through her barrier. Several of them struck her body. Sheng rushed to her side and slashed away the remaining arrows. Jing Yao grew anxious. Xue hurried over to heal her. Lucy told them something was wrong with the arrows. Fortunately, she was a cleric with a strong constitution. Otherwise, she would have died on the spot. Tianhao couldn't understand how Xiaolan's strength had increased so drastically. She was now overpowering Lucy, who was already level 30. Xiaolan sneered and told them to stop struggling. She demanded that Tianhao hand it over. If he complied, she might consider sparing their lives. Sheng was enraged by her arrogance and decided to finish her in a single move. He activated the skill, Break, Cross, Slash. Xiaolan responded instantly with her own skill, Void, Piercing, Arrow. She released her bow. The arrows collided head-on with Sheng's slashes. The aura surrounding the arrows shattered his attack. Another arrow followed, flying straight toward him. He blocked it with his sword. The impact was overwhelming. His hands trembled violently, and his body sagged from the strain. Xiaolan scoffed and said that level 30 was nothing special. Tianhao noticed that her profession was completely different from before. He asked Jing Yao under what circumstances someone could change professions a second time. She answered that a second job was impossible. Then, she froze. She realized Xiaolan must have made a deal with the Lord of the Abyss. Qing had heard of such a method. By forming a contract with the Lord of the Abyss, one could change professions again, but the price was their soul. Xiaolan laughed and said there was no point in knowing any of that. She would send them all to their deaths anyway. She activated Void Piercing Arrow once more. She charged forward, unleashing a wave of arrows. Purple energy ripped through the ground as the arrows spread in every direction. The Shadow Army was struck. Jing Yao was furious. Xiaolan sensed that Jing Yao was someone she couldn't ignore. That realization forced her to use a certain move. It was a technique that placed an extreme burden on the body. It could only be used 3 times, but she was confident that once was enough to kill them all. It was a frenzied bow strike. Lucy stood calmly as the arrows rushed toward her. She formed small swirling currents of energy around her body, blocking every attack. Xiaolan was stunned. In the next moment, Lucy sent the arrows flying back at her. Xiaolan knew she was in trouble. She dropped into a crouch and endured the counterattack as best she could. Cracks began to spread across her barrier. When the attack finally ended, she breathed a sigh of relief. She was still alive. Lucy glared at her and said she wasn't worthy yet. Xiaolan found her annoying and shifted her target to Tianhao instead. She crushed a piece of paper in her hand. In the next instant, she appeared right behind him. Lucy panicked. She was about to stab him. Suddenly, the cube in his hand began to vibrate. A mysterious female warrior wielding a massive weapon emerged. Xiaolan's face turned pale the moment she saw it. She was smashed by a gigantic warhammer. After that, she was reduced to nothing but a pile of soil. Zhu and Lucy were stunned. Once Zhu regained her senses, she immediately started healing him. Qing jumped into his arms, relieved that he was unharmed. That only caused another nosebleed. His face turned red when her chest pressed against him. Jing Yao commented that, as expected of the chosen summoner, even with a low level, Tianhao could defeat such a powerful opponent. He pointed out that the heir of the DuPont royal family couldn't even block a single attack. She made an excuse, claiming she had deliberately held back to awaken his potential. Jing Yao replied sarcastically that he understood. Tianhao finally asked Qing how long she planned to keep hugging him. Embarrassed, she quickly backed away. Tianhao realized just how useful the Purgatory Spirit Cube really was. He hadn't expected that even the soul of a roaming corpse leader could be this powerful. A timer appeared, showing 6 hours and 56 minutes. Just as he thought, souls summoned from the cube had a cooldown. Still, a strike that terrifying having a cooldown made sense. If the roaming corpse leader was already this strong, he couldn't help but wonder how powerful the Bristlepig King's soul would be. Lucy asked what he was thinking about and warned him that if they delayed any longer, others would steal the loot. Tianhao asked what she meant by a second job transfer. Logically, a normal person's strength shouldn't increase that fast. Lucy remarked that getting injured by such minor characters was an embarrassment to the DuPont royal family. Lucy and Sheng could only nod. She told them to stop standing around and hurry up. She would explain the second job transfer along the way. Lucy and Sheng exchanged glances and nodded. They set off together. Meanwhile, in a snow-covered land, a blond man chanted. Blood seeped from the ground. It formed a glowing magic circle. The 2 men behind him knelt down, their bodies trembling. He shot them a cold glare. Then he turned his attention back to the magic circle. The men widened their eyes as he pulled a woman out from the pool of blood. He glared at her. She lowered her head in embarrassment. It was Xiaolan. Panic flashed across her face when she saw Murong Shui. She hurriedly explained that it had nothing to do with her. He was furious that she couldn't even defeat a summoner who was only a few levels ahead, even after undergoing a second job change. At that point, she had no more value to him. She begged for forgiveness, but his power was already tightening around her throat. If not for her contract with the Lord of the Black Abyss, she would have died long ago. He gave her one last chance. If she failed again, she would become food. He injected his power into the mummy doll. She thanked him for his mercy. He then left for the burial ground, warning her that she could not fail. She bowed deeply to him. The moment he was gone, anger twisted her face as she swore to kill Tianhao. Meanwhile, Tianhao and his companions entered a dark alley covered with plants and purple flowers along the walls. Tianhao was surprised that such a desolate place could still support plant life. Xue's eyes sparkled when she recognized them as a premium medicinal herb sold in pharmacies. Lingzi grass. She couldn't understand how it was able to grow here. Jing Yao explained that a single stalk of Lingzi grass was worth hundreds of gold coins. Yet here, they grew like wild weeds. Their only purpose was to sustain her life. That last remark caught Tianhao's attention, and he immediately asked what she meant. She revealed that this place was the Rift Abyss's hidden dungeon, and also the final destination of their journey. The owner of the burial ground was once one of humanity's pioneers in the war against the Black Abyss. She stopped there, and told them to see everything with their own eyes. The Lingzi grass here had all been contaminated by monsters, making them unsellable. Xu felt heartbroken. When she tried to pick one, the mushroom crumbled into dust in her hand. Lucy handed her a handkerchief and urged her to keep going, so they continued deeper inside. The path stretched on for a long time. At its end, they arrived at a vast field filled with Lingzi grass. Jing Yao told them that this place was the secret behind the second job change, and also the price paid for opposing the Black Abyss. A naked woman was bound to a tree. Qing asked what that was. Jing Yao explained that the second job change was created when the Abyss Lord absorbed the life force of those who changed jobs. The woman, along with all the original team members. They had become nourishment for the Abyss Lord, causing the Black Abyss to fall into its current twisted state. The Abyss Lord stole the life energy of job changers, granting ordinary people the opportunity for a second job change. Anyone who undergoes a second job change has their soul seized by demons. If they disobey, they can be reduced to dust at any moment. Tianhao frowned as he realized she had known everything from the beginning. Now he couldn't understand her true reason for bringing him to the Rift Abyss. She suddenly grabbed his forearm and revealed that her goal was to stop all of it. He asked how he was supposed to do that. She told him that only the hand of a summoner could call forth the final traces of spiritual power, the hearts, left behind by the original team members, and use them to halt the Abyss Lord's plan of destruction. When Tianhao touched it, a golden light burst forth. The light gathered at the woman's chest. When it faded, an emblem of holy light was revealed. Our boy wondered what this holy light even do. Lucy revealed that the person standing before him was actually the first-generation human holy cleric, Jiang Qingshui. He was stunned by the revelation and stared at her closely. Jing Yao noticed the spirit stone in his hand and explained that it reacted because of his powerful spiritual summoning talent as an S-rank summoner. Unexpectedly, Zhang's spirit stone was a protective charm. She suddenly woke up and shouted at them to give it back. They all tensed up when they saw the anger on her face. Tianhao told everyone to step back. At that moment, plants with sharp teeth burst out of the ground. Qing instantly transformed and took a combat stance. Qing Shui released her power. Jing Yao sensed danger. Qing Shui's energy condensed into a single orb. Then she fired it straight at them. They barely managed to raise a barrier, but it shattered. Jing Yao and Tianhao were sent flying. They slammed into the mountainside. Jing Yao cursed under her breath. Tianhao asked her what was happening. She snapped at him to stop talking and quickly transfer his power to her. She was sitting on his lap and gripping both of his hands, making his face turn red. He asked how he was supposed to transfer it. She urgently told him to use restoration magic. He had a guess about what she meant, but he needed to be sure. Shui, Sheng, and Qing grew anxious as Qing Shui prepared another attack. Sheng drew his sword. He stepped directly into the path of the beam and swung his blade at it. He shouted to Jing Yao that he couldn't hold on much longer. She pushed Tianhao harder. Nothing else mattered to her anymore. She kissed him. Tianhao froze. He realized how soft and sweet a beautiful girl's lips were. His nose started bleeding, but he kissed her back. Golden light wrapped around both of them. Shui saw it and immediately pointed it out to Qing. Qing scolded Tianhao. At that moment, Jing Yao shoved him away. Playtime was over. She had fully recovered, and now she was ready to strike back. The condensed orb of power kept growing, becoming larger and denser. Another force merged into it, making everyone even more terrified. Tianhao suddenly realized that Jing Yao had absorbed his spiritual power. Qing Shui began preparing another attack. Jing Yao coldly told her that someone like her had no place in the new era and should simply disappear. Qing Shui froze in shock as her power suddenly dissipated. Jing Yao released her own power in response. She controlled it carefully, until it pierced straight through Qing Shui. Jing Yao admitted she hadn't expected Tianhao's spiritual power to be this strong. She was distracted for a brief moment when Lucy called out and pointed at something. The Lingzi grass was falling, and it was gathering around Qing Shui. Jing Yao told her to stop struggling, but Qing Shui screamed instead. Jing Yao immediately sensed danger. It was a series of sonic wave attacks. Jing Yao was hit directly. Tianhao hurriedly summoned his slime to help her. The slime caught her in midair. She told him not to worry about her. She tried to stand up and continue fighting. Tianhao stopped her, saying he had already received so much from her and couldn't ask her to fight for him again. He looked at Qing Shui and declared that something born from the old era should be ended by the people of the new era. He stepped forward, ready to fight alongside his slime and unicorn. Qing Shui was horrified when she saw him, which only drove her into a frenzy. She gathered her power once more. Tianhao called for Qing's support. A powerful beam of energy shot straight toward Tianhao. He didn't move. To his surprise, a massive polar bear appeared in front of him. It blocked the attack. Tianhao stared in shock. Shui immediately recognized it. It was a cyclone's protective spirit. Jing Yao commented that Tianhao's companion was incredibly strong. The bear gathered its remaining strength and shoved the powerful beam away. The force burned its paws, and the transformation faded, revealing Qing. She urgently told Tianhao to hurry. There was a gap in the light sphere he could exploit. Tianhao used slime spit to summon more slime. Thick red goo splashed over Qing Shui. He mounted his unicorn and released the Boar King spirit to attack next. The massive tusk lunged forward, aiming straight for Qing Shui. but she blocked it with her bare hands. Her chest was exposed, revealing a glowing star-shaped mark. Jing Yao saw it and immediately shouted for Tianhao to destroy the demon core. Qing Shui twisted the tree branches around her, blocking Tianhao's path. Lucy and Sheng grew anxious. The situation was turning bad. Qing Shui no longer looked like herself. She claimed they couldn't stop the demon's advance. She fired multiple beams of power at Tianhao while he was airborne. He couldn't dodge and could only brace himself, but nothing hit him. When he opened his eyes, Qing was standing in front of him. Her transformation made her look like an ice fairy. She blocked the attack with her own body. Luckily, she had a skill that could regenerate her wings. She urged him to move now. It hurt Tianhao to leave her behind, but he had no choice. He commanded the unicorn to use Rainbow Horn. The unicorn reverted to her demi-human form. Qing Shui froze in horror when she saw it. The unicorn charged forward and drove her horn straight into Qing Shui. Then she pulled back. Qing Shui screamed in pain. The demon core shattered. Tianhao felt a wave of relief as it finally worked. The dark spirit was forced out of her body. They all watched as it fled into the distance. Lucy and Sheng finally relaxed, knowing it was over. Our boy then noticed Qing Shui, and just to make sure everything is fine, he made a decision. Tianhao summoned the Shadow Legion to restrain her. Slime, together with her clone, heeded the command. Qing Shui then slowly regained her senses and thanked him for saving her. Tianhao was stunned by her sudden action. He stepped closer to her. Jing Yao sensed danger and shouted for her to stop. Qing Shui reached out. Her fingers brushed his cheek. Without warning, she pulled him in and kissed him. Tianhao froze, completely caught off guard, and so was everyone else. Faces flushed all around. A golden glow wrapped around them. After the kiss, she told him that the world still needed him. That was why she gave him the last of her energy. He didn't understand. She told him to go to the Black Abyss Forest, where he would find the answers he was looking for. Then her body shattered into light. Tianhao was left holding a small orb. It released a beam of light onto his forehead. When he checked his stats, his heart skipped. He had jumped 10 levels at once. Even his summoned beast space expanded. He now had 4 beast slots. Before he could react, the slime hugged him tightly. He asked if it wanted to advance as well. It nodded eagerly. Demon Slime Tier 1 was now level 15, with 2,700 hit points, 205 attack, 160 agility, and 20.1 defense. Its skills included Corrosive Slime, Slime Spit, Demon Dance, Split, Corrosive Acid Raid, and Demon Embrace. To advance to the intermediate stage, it required level 30. Cross-level advancement needed double sacrifice and a 1,600 HP limit. He activated Demonic Sacrifice. A magic circle appeared beneath them. Not knowing what it was, Lucy and Sheng immediately stood up, ready to protect Jing Yao. A blinding light burst out. It completely enveloped the slime. When the light faded, Tianhao was stunned. Her appearance had changed. The once childlike slime now had the figure of a grown woman. Our MC couldn't really believe the situation. Slime could speak too. She jumped forward and hugged him tightly. Her chest pressed against his face, making him blush hard. She tilted her head and asked what was wrong. He quickly said it was nothing and told her to let go, wiping his nosebleed as she cheerfully greeted the unicorn. Tianhao complained that everyone else had cool summoned beasts, while all of his were girls. Suddenly, Shui shouted for him to come quickly. Qing was about to pass out. His expression changed instantly. He rushed over and asked what happened. Shui reminded him that transforming into an immortal phoenix came with serious side effects. Jing Yao saw how critical the situation was, but reassured them that the Dupong royal family had healers. Without warning, an arrow flew out of nowhere. It pierced straight through Zhuo's chest. Shui stared in shock and horror as pain tore through her chest. She called out Tianhao's name. Tianhao's heart clenched when he saw her state. Xiaolan appeared. He was clearly surprised to see that she was still alive. A shadow suddenly moved behind Sheng. Sensing danger, Sheng instantly turned around. He slashed at it. The shadow dispersed. It revealed a female ninja. Apparently, this lady has also been looking for Tianhao. Meanwhile, Shui trembled as she realized she had been shot. Her pixie desperately tried to pull the arrow out. Shui weakly told Tianhao that she was happy she got to be with him. Lucy caught Shui before she collapsed and told Tianhao to protect her while she cast healing magic. Sheng stood firm, guarding their rear. But the female ninja ignored him. She had only one target: Tianhao. Jing Yao stepped in front of him and told him to run as far as he could. There was still an hour before the teleportation array activated. He was their hope. But he said no. That answer caught her completely off guard. Tianhao was furious that his companions had been hurt. He warned them that there would be consequences. Jingyao grew anxious. He still held Qingshui's spirit stone. If he didn't leave now, it would be too late. But Tianhao chose this moment to test his strength. Xiaolan mocked him, telling him to stop pretending. She said he only escaped last time because she allowed it. She then demonstrated the power she gained after being reborn. Energy gathered around her. Then she released a volley of arrows. Tianhao shoved Jingyao aside. Xiaolan was confident. This attack was stronger than before. But she was wrong. The demon's slime caught the arrow and swallowed it whole. It was a new skill. Elemental Devour. Purple energy surged violently from the demon slime. Tianhao coldly warned them that anyone who harmed his companions would pay the price. He ordered the demon slime to activate Dissolution Field. The slime melted down and spread across the ground like a puddle. Xiaolan stared in confusion. The female ninja sensed danger at the last second. She leaped away as the liquid expanded, but Xiaolan wasn't fast enough. She sank into it and was swallowed whole. The female ninja dropped her kusarigama to the ground. Since the ground was covered in slime, the female ninja landed on the tip of her kusarigama. Tianhao activated Dissolution Field. Digest. Xiaolan screamed, begging Murong to save her. Slowly, her skin dried out, until only bones remained. The female ninja coldly called her useless. Meanwhile, the demon slime happily finished its meal. Jing Yao was stunned. Tianhao was only level 21, yet he had already unleashed such a terrifying move. She couldn't understand how he possessed that kind of power. Once the ground was safe to step on, the female ninja retreated. She recalled her weapon. Then she assumed a combat stance. 2 kusarigama appeared in her hands. She merged them into one. The change in her eyes was immediate. Jingyao frowned and asked what was happening to her. Black wings burst from the female ninja's back. She warned them that no one could escape her grasp. She declared that anyone who dared to defy her would die. Tianhao ordered the slime to continue using the dissolution field. The slime melted into a puddle again, spreading outward. The female ninja sneered, saying he would soon learn what true hell looked like. Even she looked slightly uneasy. She slammed her weapon into the ground, calling down lightning. The earth cracked open. A gate of hell split the ground apart. Tianhao was overwhelmed by the chaos. The slime began to fall. Mid-air, she reverted to her original form. Luckily, the unicorn caught her. Tianhao rushed over. The slime apologized softly. The unicorn stepped forward and offered to take her place. Tianhao hesitated, and the unicorn noticed his doubt. At the same time, the female ninja changed targets. At first, she wanted Tianhao dead. Now, her gaze shifted to Sheng. Behind him stood Lucy and Shui. She pointed at them and told them to go to hell. Sheng calmly replied that a sword could cut iron, and it could also cut the soul. She unleashed her attack. A bright blue blast tore forward, ripping through everything in its path. Sheng was caught off guard for a split second, but his fighting spirit surged. His arms moved rapidly, deflecting the strike. The female ninja clicked her tongue, impressed by his toughness. Then her eyes widened. Sheng activated the Sword of the Heart ultimate technique, Phantom Swift Slash. In the blink of an eye, he vanished. The distance between them disappeared. Lucy and Jing Yao felt hopeful, until they realized the female ninja was completely fine. The ninja mocked the move, calling it nothing more than an amateur trick. Then she grabbed Sheng by the neck. Sheng coughed up blood and lost consciousness. She flung him far away. She was done playing games. She didn't expect Tianhao to attack immediately, ordering the unicorn to strike with Rainbow Horn. In a split second, the unicorn was already on her. She knocked the horn aside with her weapon. She shouted for them to stop, saying she was finished playing. Then she slammed the unicorn away with overwhelming force. The unicorn crashed to the ground beside Tianhao. Jing Yao yelled at him to run, warning that it would be too late if he stayed, but Tianhao refused. He still had the Shadow Army and the Purgatory Spirit Cube. She told him those attacks couldn't break the enemy's defense. The unicorn urged him to use demonic sacrifice on her. He hesitated because her injuries were already severe, but she told him to trust her. He finally agreed. He activated demonic sacrifice. A magic circle appeared, bathing them in red light. Crimson marks spread across the unicorn's body, and her eyes turned blood red. When she stepped forward, the ground shattered under her strength. She transformed into a demonic frost unicorn, level 10, with 3,500 hit points, 120 attack, 100 agility, and 15 defense. Her skills were Demonic Rainbow Horn and Frost Embrace. Frost Embrace released burning ice from the frost hell of the 8 hells, inflicting both frostbite and burn damage. The female ninja sneered, saying she was just another fool who overestimated herself. She was ready to kill again. But something moved too fast, leaving only a streak of light. She sensed it. It was already too late. Her weapon disintegrated before she could react. she felt the unicorn standing behind her. Tianhao realized just how powerful the unicorn had become. He ordered her to keep using demonic rainbow horn and never give the enemy time to recover. She acknowledged his command. Then, she attacked. The female ninja panicked as the unicorn closed in. The demonic rainbow horn struck. Terror filled her eyes. A hole tore through her chest, and she collapsed unconscious. The unicorn looked down at the enemy. After confirming she was dead, she happily called out and ran back to her master. Tianhao suddenly panicked and shouted at her to look behind her. The female ninja's body released strange inscriptions into the air. They wrapped around her corpse as a beam of light burst from her body. The beam shot straight into the sky with overwhelming power. The sky darkened, and a voice spoke from behind the clouds, saying the female ninja had made a contract that allowed her to reincarnate through the cycle of rebirth. Her eyes snapped open. She regained control of her body and spread her wings. Everyone was horrified. She looked down at them and declared that it was impossible to kill her. Tianhao knew that if he didn't act fast, Qing and Shui would be in grave danger. Since killing her was impossible, he searched for another solution. He told the unicorn that he had a plan. The female ninja mocked him, asking what he thought he could do. Tianhao and the unicorn watched her closely. He activated Voice from Hell. A deafening sound erupted. Our MC was definitely being affected by this attack. He knew they couldn't keep this up. Suddenly, the slime appeared in front of the unicorn. She supported her, helping her prepare for the attack. The unicorn nodded. Slime covered her body and legs, greatly increasing her speed. She rushed toward the female ninja. Then, she vanished. The female ninja instinctively looked up. To her shock, she was restrained from behind. Tianhao ordered the unicorn to use Frost Embrace. A freezing mist poured from her mouth, rapidly encasing the female ninja in ice. Moments later, the ice shattered, taking more than half of the female ninja's body with it. The unicorn could only watch as it happened. Eventually, the enemy's legs gave out. She looked completely drained and reported to her master that it was finally over. The system announced that they had completed the hidden quest, Black Abyss, Burial Grounds. Everyone froze when the screen appeared. The system evaluated the results. The Abyss difficulty was Nightmare level, granting double rewards. They also received a first clear bonus and a time bonus for completing it in 16 hours and 45 minutes. After the evaluation, the system announced that a hidden piece of equipment would drop. But Tianhao ignored the rewards. He only asked to be returned to the city so they could treat the wounded. Qing, Shui, and Sheng had all reached their limits. Lucy said she was barely able to maintain Shu's heartbeat and feared it was about to stop. Suddenly, a circular mirror formed around them, leaving her completely stunned. Jingyao told them to open the portal quickly. Lucy was worried that her body couldn't handle any more mental power, but Jingyao insisted they open the portal anyway. At that point, blood was already running from her head. Lucy quickly used the Grandmaster Escape Scroll. A magic circle began to form, and it spread out, covering all of them. As soon as they were teleported, Tianhao started shouting for someone to come at once. The maids rushed in and were shocked by their condition. Tianhao told them to call a medic right away. He didn't look well at all. The maids carried Qing away on a stretcher. That was when Tianhao fainted. Later, he slowly opened his eyes. The first people he saw were Lucy and Jing Yao. He was startled and asked what they were doing there. Jing Yao felt relieved when she saw him awake. She asked if he knew how long he had been out. Tianhao didn't even realize he had been unconscious. Lucy told him it had been 3 days. She asked if he was still feeling unwell. He gently moved her hand away from his head and said he was fine. Then something hit him. He quickly asked what happened to Qing and Sheng. Jing Yao told him he should show some concern for her first. He just laughed it off, saying she looked the same as always, with rosy cheeks and flawless skin. She got annoyed and told him that the DuPont Royal Infirmary was the best in the world. Of course, those two were fine. They went to the infirmary. The first one they visited was Qing. She was lying inside a water capsule, wearing only her underwear, and that gave Tianhao a nosebleed. He got embarrassed and quickly wiped it away. Then, he asked where Sheng was. Jing Yao told him that Sheng had already gone on another mission and was expected to return by tomorrow. He commented that Sheng was a true model worker. Then she brought up the clearing rewards. She expected he gained much more than them. He had completely forgotten about it. So when she reminded him, he checked. He frowned at what he saw. She noticed his reaction and asked why he looked so surprised. He said he got the Codex of Hell. It was a Radiant-grade book, an exclusive item for summoners. The Codex was said to open during the first apocalypse. Suddenly, the book floated into the air. Jing Yao and Tianhao were both stunned. A system message appeared, telling him about a hidden set called Lucifer's Grief. On the screen, a new item appeared, a Purgatory Spirit Box of legendary grade. It was also exclusive to summoners. It reduced attack by 30, defense by 50, and speed by 60, but increased mental power by 200. There was also a hidden attribute. The first active effect allowed him to seal the soul of any enemy he defeated and use it. He could summon those souls to fight for him. The second effect let him attach a soul to a summoned creature after consuming 5 souls. More effects would unlock at level 10 and level 20. There was also a hidden trait. All soul-based summons would appear in a demonized form. This power came from the lands of darkness and was meant to trap sinful spirits. He couldn't believe it. A demonized form meant the wandering corpse leader and the bristleback pig king would become even stronger. The cube dropped into his hand, and the book slowly moved closer to him. Its pages flipped on their own, until it stopped on a page showing an angel. He realized these were all the pieces needed for the Lucifer's Grief hidden set. Then the book suddenly snapped shut. He felt annoyed. There wasn't even a skill description or any instructions on how to use it. Tianhao saw in the book that the first apocalypse contained many spells. He read about an evil spirit art that permanently consumed 5 points of mental power to summon a spirit from hell to haunt a target. He then read about holy water bombs, which also permanently consumed 5 points of mental power and needed a cursed glass bottle, dealing heavy damage to most evil spirits. He closed the book, feeling excited. Because the first apocalypse alone had 26 spells, making him feel almost invincible. Jingya warned Lin Tianhao to look carefully at the cost, pointing out that it permanently used up his mental power. He was shocked. She asked if he understood what it meant for his mental power to drop. He asked what it meant. She explained that a normal person has around 100 to 200 mental power, but as a summoner, he could reach 300 at the beginner stage. However, if it dropped below 50, he would fall into madness and be locked in a mental hospital forever. He panicked and asked why it had to be permanent. She explained that once it dropped below 50, it would never recover, and if it fell below 10, he might hear the call of the Black Abyss. He asked what that was. She said their DuPont royal family did not specialize in this kind of art, so she would need to ask someone else about it. She added that she had never seen equipment that used the user's own stats like this. She told him to seal it away for good. He admitted he did not expect it to be this dangerous. Jingyao then went to prepare for the next Black Abyss dungeon raid. She also told him that his vice principal had asked him to return to school yesterday, so he should go when he had time. He wondered why the vice principal wanted him back. While they were talking, Ching slowly woke up. She called his name. He turned to look at her. But then he froze. The glass capsule suddenly shattered. She jumped out and fell right on top of him. She asked for his help. He panicked and asked how she got out of the capsule and what she needed help with. They were very close in that position. Then, she leaned even closer. He closed his eyes without thinking. Our boy thought he was about to get a kiss. But then, she whispered for him to find her clothes and called him a jerk. After that, our MC, Ching, and Shui met at the lounge area. Shui was happy that he managed to lead them out, just as she expected. On top of that, she even got an epic grade gear. He smiled and said it was all thanks to everyone's effort. He then asked Ching what kind of gear she got. She casually replied that it was just a one-time use potion, nothing special. He looked at the potion and asked what a one-time use potion actually does. But before Ching could answer, a new voice suddenly greeted Lin Tianhao, Su Qing, and Li Shui, saying they had heard a lot about them. Jing Yao stepped in, followed by an old man. Our MC was surprised to see their vice principal, Elder Fang. Elder Fang warmly greeted him and praised how fast he had grown, already clearing the Rift Black Abyss at such a young age. Then, Elder Fang suddenly asked Ching how things were going between her and our MC. Ching instantly got flustered and denied it, saying there was nothing going on between them. That made Elder Fang laugh. Our MC then asked if he needed something from them. Elder Fang admitted that he did not expect Tianhao to not only clear the Rift Black Abyss, but also obtain the token of the first-generation squad. Jing Yao had already told him everything. Our MC turned to her, but she just scoffed. He then humbly said it was all just luck and nothing worth bragging about. Elder Fang said those were not just coincidences. He knew that as vice principal he should not put his students in danger, but this time was different. He expected Tianhao to have already heard about the first-generation squad, and he had even contacted the military. That left him with no choice but to bring out the map. Tianhao was stunned as he looked at what was revealed. Elder Fang explained that the secret of the Black Abyss was hidden within a high-quality replica of the Hellscape map. Tianhao took a closer look and asked if it was really a high-quality replica. Elder Fang told him that the original had been taken by the church long ago, and many parts of it were blacked out. That made the young summoner ask what the map was supposed to show them. So, Elder Fang revealed that the layer they entered before was only the surface. The map showed the level 50 section of the Black Forest dungeon. Tianhao was left shocked by the revelation. Elder Fang laughed and said Huaxia had spent hundreds of years, yet they still had not found a way to reach the second layer of the Black Abyss within the Black Forest. He told them to follow orders, as the Huaxia military had already made a unified decision. He then assigned Tianhao, Qing, and Sui, along with support from the DuPont royal family, to head to the Black Forest at once and find the entrance to the second layer of the Black Abyss, also known as Hell's Antechamber. They reacted in shock, saying the plan was too ridiculous. They argued that they were only in their early 20s, yet they were being sent into a level 50 dungeon. Elder Fang said it was not ridiculous. Besides, they had Jing Yao to help them. He added that Tianhao's token might be the key to unlocking the second layer of the dungeon. To help them, he gave them an S-class dragon egg. It was a treasure their school had not seen in 1,000 years. Tianhao was handed a glowing pink egg. It was an S-class pet egg that could hatch into Angela the Angel, though its details were still unknown. He was completely confused. Moments later, Elder Fang was shocked when a crack suddenly appeared on the egg. He got excited and said that Tianhao really was the chosen one. He explained that the egg had been dormant for hundreds of years and only reacted when it met him. Tianhao asked what exactly an angel was. Elder Fang casually said he did not know either, which left the young summoner stunned. Elder Fang then added that due to the difficulty of the mission, the Huaxia military had sent a big shot to protect them. That made the guy curious. He then called her in. This old man clapped his hands. And then, this lady walks up. Is she another waifu candidate? I'll leave that answer to you guys. Anyway, Tianhao immediately recognized her. She was featured in textbooks known as the Dragon Hunter, Chen Muyan. Elder Fang handed him the entrance pass to the Black Forest and told him to stay safe. Muyan walked toward them. Tianhao was caught off guard. She greeted him and said she would be their escort to make sure they stayed safe. His eyes drifted for a second. He could not help but comment that it was big. She immediately asked what he was looking at. He froze, completely flustered. Then she turned to Jing Yao and asked when they would leave. Jing Yao replied that they would leave in half an hour. After the last battle, she realized her weaknesses and wanted to pray for a bit. Muyan nodded and told Tianhao she would see him in half an hour. Elder Fang then told Tianhao that the future of Huaxia now rested on his shoulders. Tianhao nodded and said he understood. He promised that he would do his best. Elder Fang said goodbye to Tianhao. They left. A few minutes later, we see Muyan left alone in the hallway, slightly out of breath. She was clearly excited. And guess what? She was thinking about our MC. She knew he had just graduated, yet he had already broken all kinds of records in the Black Abyss. And on top of that, she found him surprisingly handsome, even though he was only 18. That thought lingered in her mind. And after a few seconds, she concluded that she will definitely make Tianhao hers. Meanwhile, inside the classroom, Murong Yu was casting magic. Strange markings formed beneath his feet. Slowly, they connected into a full magic circle. The crowd watched in awe as his energy kept rising. Then, two figures appeared from within the circle. They were resurrected. Murong Yu did not look pleased. The two women stood there, caught off guard. Xiaolan quickly begged him to let her explain. Murong Shui told her older brother that Tianhao was far stronger than they expected. But Yu cut them off and told them to stop talking. He reminded Xiaolan that he had already warned her. If the mission failed, she would become fodder. She panicked and begged their captain for another chance. At that moment, someone stepped forward. It was a man dressed in magician robes. He calmly told Yu not to rush things. Yu addressed him as chairman and admitted that he failed to manage his subordinate properly. According to their agreement, she should be turned into fodder. The chairman simply told Xiaolan to relax, assuring her that he would not kill her. She let out a breath of relief and thanked him. And since he would not kill her, everything seemed to shift. He planned to use her as a vessel for a demon. That instantly shocked her. A dark circle formed beneath their feet. A hand slowly reached out from the shadows. She begged them to stop. More hands followed, grabbing her legs and pulling her down. She cried out, begging the chairman to listen. But a hand covered her mouth. Her screams were cut off. And in the next moment, she was gone. Murong Shui stood there, completely shaken. The entire room fell silent. The chairman calmly told everyone not to lose heart. He had just received intel that Tianhao and his team were preparing to head to the Black Forest. Yu's eyes widened as he asked if they were really going to Hell's Antechamber. The chairman turned to Murong Sui and told her this was her last chance. If she failed, she already knew how it would end. He shouted at her to move. With a sharp pull, he tore away her cloak, exposing her while ordering her to carry out the demon's command. A sudden light shone down on her. She froze in place. An hour later, we see someone suddenly shatter a glass. Murong Shui told her brother not to worry, promising she would succeed this time. But Yu cut her off, saying there was no need to say more. They would deploy all their forces to kill Tian Hao in the Black Forest. Another subordinate tried to reassure the captain, saying they would do their best. The captain shut them down and told them to stop talking. The subordinates fell silent, their faces tense. He then looked at the glowing mark on his hand. The two subordinates quickly begged him, saying they had not even faced Tian Hao yet. They pleaded for one more chance. Murong Yu coldly said he wanted to see Tian Hao dead within 30 minutes. Otherwise, the two of them would become his blood packs. They stiffened and immediately agreed. Murong Shui warned her brother that if they did not act in the Black Abyss, the Golden Sacred Lion Guild would be targeted by Huaxia. He snapped back, saying it did not matter. He revealed that their guild leader had already formed an alliance with the other 4 major guilds, so Huaxia would not dare touch them. But Murong Shui still looked uneasy. He gently patted her hand. Then he said with confidence that even if Huaxia rejected them, someone else would take them in. Meanwhile, Jingyao stood in front of a statue, quietly praying. Lucy stayed beside her. She softly begged her grandfather, asking to return alive from the Black Forest. Blue orbs of light began to appear in the air. They drifted toward her. Then they rushed into her body, making her eyes glow bright blue. She raised her hand, gathering blue magic. It shot forward and struck the statue. The statue shattered into pieces. Lucy was stunned. She quickly stood up and asked what happened. Jingyao calmly said it was nothing. Then she asked how the mechanical upgrade of Lucy's body was going. Lucy replied that Dr. Yang's mechanical body had passed all tests. It was already installed, and she could use it in the next battle. Jingyao reminded her that as the only A-rank firearms master in Huaxia over the past 5 years, her mission this time had only one goal. Lucy nodded and said she would protect the young lady no matter what. Jingyao shook her head. She corrected her and said she must protect Tian Hao instead. Meanwhile, Sheng knelt and begged his master to help him one more time. The master admitted that it was the first time he had seen him in such a sorry state since leaving the Dragon Dojo. His sword was broken, and because of that, he could not protect the people he was meant to guard. The master told him to stand up. He then showed him the Dragon Dojo's prized artifact, the White Dove, and told him to take it and do what he must. Sheng was caught off guard. He quickly thanked him and accepted it with deep respect. His master then told him that the future of Huaxia was now in his hands. Back to this trio. Tian Hao, Qing, and Shui stepped outside. They were ready to leave without taking any rest. Shui told Qing not to blame Tian Hao, explaining that the dungeon was extremely difficult and they needed more preparation. Qing shot back, saying Shui was only defending Tian Hao because she liked him. Hiro blushed and told Qing to stop talking nonsense. Little did they know, they were being followed. They were Yu's subordinates, already preparing to strike. Suddenly, strange marks appeared on their necks, and their weapons began to glow. They froze in confusion. Then, a voice called out to them. It was Muyan. She asked what they thought they were doing. The men were shocked. They demanded to know who she was. But in the next breath, they declared it did not matter. Anyone who got in their way would die. One of them swung his sword. She blocked it with her bare hand. The attacker froze, unable to believe it. Muyan simply smiled. Then, with a slight motion, she crushed the sword. That alone shook them. She calmly told them to stop struggling. Another attacker quickly fired at her. She caught the bullets mid-air using her magic. The gunner turned pale. His weapon had already gone through a second-class enhancement, so it should not have been easy to break or stop. Muyan's eyes turned cold. She said that anyone who dared to harm Tian Hao had to die. The attackers let out desperate screams. Not far away, Tian Hao paused for a second, sensing something. Qing noticed and asked what was wrong. He shook his head and said it was nothing. Meanwhile, Muyan stayed hidden in the shadows. Within moments, the men were gone. She looked at the direction Tian Hao had gone and smiled to herself. She was glad she got rid of them. Then she quietly said that Tian Hao would be hers. Meanwhile, these weaklings have been resurrected too. They begged the captain to hear them out, saying there was something strange about Tian Hao and they could not do anything against him. Murong Shui coldly replied that aside from Tian Hao and his summons, everything around him was normal. If they failed, they should accept it instead of making excuses. The men insisted that there really was a woman hiding in the shadows, using claw gauntlets to protect Tian Hao. They added that she was terrifyingly strong. Yu cut them off and told them to stop talking, reminding them of the agreement. Still, they kept begging, asking for one more chance. Without another word, Yu raised his hand. The mark on it glowed, and in the next second, red beams shot out and struck the men. Their screams echoed through the room. Murong Xue looked shaken and asked her brother if that woman they mentioned was real. Yu calmly said the name, Dragon Hunter, Chen Muyan. She froze in shock upon hearing that. One of the 21 guardians of Huaxia. Yu then realized that Huaxia was making its move as well, but it did not bother him. He ordered everyone to scatter outside the Golden Sacred Lion Guild and regroup at the arena. Then he thought to himself, even if Chen Muyan was protecting Tianhao, it still would not be enough to stop him. In another setting, Lucy announced that the portal was about to open. Sheng noticed Tianhao seemed a bit off and asked what was wrong. Tianhao pointed at his sword. He recognized it as the White Dove katana and wondered if the Dragon Dojo would really give up such a prized treasure. Tianhao remarked that the White Dove looked incredibly handsome. Then he glanced at Jing Yao, making her ask why he was staring at her. He told her that her spirit power was rising so fast that he could already feel the pressure coming off her. She snapped back, warning him to stop looking or she would gouge his eyes out. He just teased her, saying she seemed worked up and should go ahead and try. Mu Yan watched from the side, surprised that Jing Yao had used the DuPont family's ancestral blessing prayer. But she remained confident that Tianhao would eventually be hers. Lucy then announced that the portal was ready. Everyone's mood instantly turned serious. Mu Yan was the first one to enter the portal. Then, Tianhao noticed Qing looked nervous. He reached out, held her hand, and told her he was there. She blushed, but still nodded. The next moment, they found themselves inside the Black Forest dungeon. Before they could react, an arrow shot straight toward them. It came from a swarm of goblins. Those goblins clearly meant to kill. Tianhao frowned, sensing something was off. There were too many of them, and they felt far stronger than normal goblins. He had never seen goblins like this before. If anything, it felt like the perfect chance for a real fight. Muyan casually remarked that the welcome was quite intense, and that it might take a while to deal with. At that moment, Jing Yao sensed an opening nearby. She pointed toward a direction where there were no goblins. Tianhao immediately told everyone not to waste time and to move. Sheng stayed behind. The goblins locked onto him. He was quickly surrounded. His expression turned serious. Then he suddenly turned and ran. He said it was not a good day for a final battle and decided to retreat. Moments later, he caught up with Jue. The goblins suddenly vanished. All that's left was this hazy smoke. In their place, a man in a black hood and a woman with red horns appeared deep in the forest. She called the man Uncle Ying and praised him, saying his illusions had grown so strong that even Dragon Hunter Chen Mian and Jingyo could be fooled. He calmly replied that every profession had its strengths. Even the chairman might not be able to see through his illusions. He then reported that Tianhao and the others had already entered the Black Forest. In that thick fog, without a waystone, they were bound to get separated. He left the rest to her. She smiled and said he could trust her. Then she looked forward to watching them turn on each other. In the next moment, she transformed into Shui. Meanwhile, Tianhao moved forward through the fog-filled forest. The deeper he went, the thicker the mist became. He wondered if there's a way to clear it. Then, he glanced back and realized he was completely alone. He frowned and called out, asking where everyone went. Back to this swordsman. Sheng was going through the same thing. He could not understand how everyone vanished in an instant. He shouted, asking if anyone was there. Then, he felt something behind him. He quickly turned around. But it was just Zhu. He frowned and asked what happened, noticing she was covered in bruises. She nearly collapsed, and he quickly caught her. He asked who did this to her and who hurt her. Sue told Sheng to guess. He froze. Then she stabbed him. He staggered back. He still tried to draw his sword, but she was already gone. He looked around, completely lost on what was happening. Then everything went dark. Meanwhile, Tianhao called out to Qing. Then Mu Yan suddenly appeared, begging for help. He immediately noticed she was injured, and that didn't sit right with him. She claimed there was a powerful enemy nearby. Then, she purposely made contact with our MC. Tianhao awkwardly said that men and women should keep their distance, and as a gentleman, he shouldn't be holding her. She raised a brow and challenged that. Then she pointed out his hands, and what he was actually touching. He smirked, and said disguising herself as Mu Yan wouldn't work on him. He had already seen through it. Without hesitation, he ordered his slime to attack with corrosive mucus. She was caught off guard as slime suddenly burst out and fired toward her. Of course, she dodged, but in the process, she slipped out of her disguise, leaving the clothes behind. Tianhao casually tossed them aside. She demanded to know how he figured it out, pointing out that he had barely even met the real Mu Yan. He shrugged and said it was simple. Her figure didn't match. Mu Yan's was noticeably different. She stared at him, stunned that she ended up dealing with someone like him. She warned him that next time, he wouldn't be so lucky. Then she vanished into the darkness. Tianhao clicked his tongue. This opponent was going to be a problem. On the other side, Qing and Shui searched for Tianhao, Jinyao, and Sheng. Suddenly, they heard someone call for help. They recognized the voice. It was Sheng. So they ran toward the sound. The fog had lifted, and they found Sheng lying there. He was bleeding. They rushed to him, wondering why he was injured. Unexpectedly, they got stuck. It was baffling as the ground had turned into a swamp. They realized it had to be an illusion. Qing tried to transform, but her wings were stuck in the swamp, so she couldn't fly. Half of Shui's body had already sunk, until she was fully submerged. Ying and the woman with red horns appeared before the swamp and saw that they had taken out 2 more. The woman asked if those 2 had any chance of escaping. He explained that it was the Dark Domain swamp, which appeared randomly in the Black Forest, and anyone who fell into it never survived. Ying suggested taking advantage of it while it was still there and luring the others into it as well. She was determined that the next one she would lure in would be Tianhao. She wanted to watch him drown in the swamp himself. Back to our MC. Tianhao kept searching for Qing and Jingyao. He ordered the unicorn and Slime to help call out to them. Slime told him the Black Forest was huge and the fog was thick, so even if they shouted, no one would hear them. He realized she was right and thought they might still notice something if they could see it instead. Meanwhile, Uncle Ying sensed him. Suddenly, a lightning bolt struck their location. Ying was caught in it, and the woman with red horns was covered in bruises as well. She worried they had been discovered. He panicked since his dense spell blocked any detection spells below level 20, so there was no way a mere level 20 summoner could have spotted them. At the same time, Tianhao commanded the unicorn to release another shot in hopes the others could see it this time. The unicorn gathered power at the tip of her horn. Slime asked if this would really work. She worried it might hit Qing and the others. He hadn't thought about that, so he told her to aim for the sky instead. The unicorn unleashed the bolt toward the sky. Ying and the woman rode a massive bird and soared through the air. Ying had no idea how Tianhao had spotted them, so they decided to play it safe and approach from above. She commented that he was always so cautious. To their surprise, lightning shot straight toward them, and it knocked them out of the sky. Tianhao heard something, so they followed the direction it came from. Ying questioned why his undetectable dense fog had failed. It puzzled him how Tianhao could have sensed them. He hadn't expected it, so he wanted to know how they were spotted. Suddenly, the communication crystal in his hand began to glow. It was Yu calling. He asked Ying and the succubus how the operation was going. Ying assured him not to worry, saying everything was going smoothly and that they had already eliminated half of the targets. Yu commended him, saying it was what he expected from the guild's elite. He also ordered them to wipe out everyone or buy him as much time as possible. He added that he had already found clues to the entrance of the Black Abyss's second layer. He promised that once it was done, the guild would reward them handsomely. They saw it as an honor to serve the guild. After that, the communication was cut off. The succubus worried about whether they could hold them off. Ying answered that they had no choice but to use that move. She asked if he was really going to use that forbidden spell, warning that it would consume a huge portion of his lifespan. He replied that if they failed the mission, they were finished anyway, so it didn't matter whether they died now or later. He activated Dark Mist Soul Eater. He explained that anyone enveloped in the black mist would have their life force drained continuously until they were completely depleted. At that moment, Tianhao was inspecting the fallen bird. This confirmed that the unicorn had hit something. He just hoped it wasn't the princess and the others. The unicorn pointed out that there was a scent of blood on the clothes and that she could sense black magic. He realized it might be someone from Yu's side. Slime could tell something was wrong. The fog was getting thicker and filled with powerful dark magic. All of them were alarmed. Slime said the fog was draining her life force. Tianhao realized something was wrong with the fog. He confirmed it was powerful black magic. Then he told Slime to hang in there and ordered the unicorn to use Rainbow Barrier. The barrier formed around them. The unicorn was relieved it blocked the attack. Ying was amused that they had blocked it, but questioned how long their barrier would last. The mist twisted into a miniature tornado, and its tip sharpened as it tried to pierce through the barrier. Unfortunately, the unicorn couldn't hold on much longer. Tianhao felt the pressure, realizing they would just wait there and die unless they could pinpoint the enemy's location. Slime answered that she could sense where they were. She pointed in a direction and said the dark magic coming from them was extremely dense. He praised the slime. Now that they knew where they were, the rest would be easy. He then ordered the unicorn to ignore the barrier and unleash the full power of her 7-colored horn to destroy them. The powerful beam tore through the mist and triggered a massive explosion. But after that, the unicorn was weakened. Tianhao checked if they had taken them down. The mist slowly cleared and revealed the enemies. They were down. Tianhao approached them and demanded to know who they were and why they attacked them. The succubus called him a scoundrel and said it was a pity she couldn't kill him earlier. Tianhao realized she was the one who had disguised herself as Muyan. He asked who they were and if Yu had sent them. Ying never expected to die at the hands of a level 20 summoner like Tianhao. He then declared that even if he died, he would drag Tianhao down with him. He unleashed the technique Sacrificial Summon Dark Domain Swamp. A swamp formed beneath their feet. Tianhao and the others were alarmed. Slime recognized it as the most terrifying Dark Domain swamp in the Black Forest. Once they fell in, escape was impossible. Tianhao complained that no one told him there were swamps in the forest. They all began to sink into the swamp. Meanwhile, Yu inspected a tree. According to the map, it was the entrance to the second floor of the Black Abyss. He unsheathed his sword and slashed the tree. It revealed a portal. He was pleased to have found the entrance. He claimed that he had already won this time. The portal exuded a powerful aura. He ordered one of his subordinates to scout ahead. The man stepped forward and went through the portal. The others watched in shock. The man came out, wondering if he had reached the second floor of the abyss. He even commented that it looked exactly like the outside. Then he saw his boss and the others, thinking they were clones. Yu grew annoyed. His subordinates pointed out that he had just come back out after being told to scout ahead. He was confused that he had somehow ended up back where he started. Yu asked if he discovered anything. He replied that he didn't know, saying he walked into the vortex and somehow returned to the same spot. This made Yu question if there was a problem with the entrance. Suddenly, he slashed it. He kept striking it repeatedly, but the same slash was just casted back to them. Then he realized it wasn't an entrance at all. He struck again to block the previous sword slash. He looked at the map, baffled since it pointed exactly to that location. One of them asked what they should do next. Since the map marked the entrance there, he decided to keep going, even if he had to dig 3 feet into the ground. A few moments later, we see Yu continue slashing. A massive bear took the full force of the attack. The bear glared at him. Meanwhile, a man sitting atop the tree sighed and asked what the point of all this was. He told Yu it wasn't easy for them to grow a tree that large. Yu demanded to know who he was. The man replied that he didn't know where they got the map, but the second floor of the Black Abyss wasn't open to the public and told them to head back. Yu declared that no one dared to order him around. He unleashed another attack. The man didn't bother responding and casually commented about his earwax instead. The strike was about to hit him. At the last moment, he summoned a holographic frog and used it to shatter the attack. Yu was surprised and asked if he was a summoner too. The man questioned what he meant by too, asking if Yu knew other summoners. This made Yu demand who they really were, pointing out that summoner classes were supposed to have gone extinct 1,000 years ago. The man casually replied that he was just a bored, middle-aged man passing through. His summoned bat flew toward him. It delivered a message that surprised him. He wondered how anyone could have entered the second floor since he had sealed the entrance himself. He told Big Mouth, his frog, to send them away, saying he needed to head back and check things out. Then he activated Reverse Summon and disappeared. At the same time, the summoned frog started gathering magic particles around the area. Yu was left wondering who that man really was. At an island, Tianhao wondered how the bottom of the swamp was connected to this place and questioned where they were. In short, they have been transported here. Then they decided to split up and scout the island. They were supposed to be searching for the second floor of the Black Abyss, so he couldn't understand how they ended up there. Slime informed him that she sensed a powerful force nearby. Unicorn confirmed that she sensed it too. He looked around but said he couldn't see anything. Suddenly, the island began to shake. He wondered what was happening and thought it might be an earthquake. Someone said it felt like a summoner's aura. This creature exclaimed that their master had returned. Tianhao questioned if it was him and asked who they were. Again, the ground trembled. the water began to rise, and it revealed a massive creature. Everyone was shocked to see a giant whale. Tianhao questioned how a whale could be that big. The screen showed that it was a wave-breaker whale, but the rest of its details were unknown. He thought it had to be some kind of joke since the stats weren't showing. He wondered if it was some kind of ancient divine beast. The whale spoke and asked if he remembered it, saying it was his little whale. Tianhao was completely confused. He even thought it was some kind of joke. He told the whale it had the wrong person, saying he was just an ordinary summoner and couldn't be its master. Slime and Unicorn agreed that their master couldn't be its master. The whale insisted he was right, especially since his aura matched its master's. It firmly believed in its master's promise to return. He tried to explain that it was mistaken. The whale then declared that if he wasn't its master, then he was an intruder that needed to be eliminated. Because of this, Tianhao suddenly admitted that yes, he was its master. He needed to pretend for a bit. The whale happily responded that it knew it was him. Slime questioned him, asking if he was really going to admit it just like that. He replied that he had no choice, saying that if he kept arguing, he might end up dead. He asked the little whale where exactly they were. He made an excuse that it had been a long time since he had been back, so he had forgotten. The whale explained that he had reached the second floor of the Black Abyss. He repeated it in surprise, questioning if it was really the second floor. He was amused that the Dark Domain Swamp had actually led to this place. The whale believed him and informed him that after he sealed the entrance to the second floor, it had remained there, waiting for his return. Now it made sense to him why, after falling into the swamp, he somehow ended up in the right place. He asked if they were the only ones there, or if there were other creatures nearby. The whale answered that there were dozens of others in their tribe, all living in a temple beneath the ocean. And now that he had returned, they could finally hold their millennia-long sacrificial ritual to awaken the tribe guardian's power. He asked what the sacrificial ritual involved. The whale was surprised that he had forgotten, especially since he was the one who had established the ritual procedures. He awkwardly laughed and made an excuse that he was just testing if the whale had remembered his instructions. The whale assured him that everything he had decreed was etched into their hearts. It led them toward the temple. It told him to hold on tight as they crossed the barrier. And they vanished. At the temple. They suddenly appeared. Everyone knelt down and greeted them. He greeted everyone, saying it had been a long time and hoped they had all been well. One of the representatives told him that the sacrificial ritual could now begin and asked him to stand before the stone altar. He thought to himself that he had no choice but to play along, since these were all ancient divine beasts. There was no way he could fight them. After he stepped forward, the leader called for the ritual to begin and ordered them to bring out the finest food and drink. Tianhao was confused since a sacrificial ritual was supposed to be solemn, yet they sounded casual instead. The representative explained that this was according to his requirements and that none of it had changed. The women brought out food and drink. It looked like sticky, muddy paste on the plate. This worried Slime and Unicorn. Tianhao asked if it was even edible or if they were trying to poison him. The man explained that it was their favorite dish, rice cakes dipped in sour juice and stinky sauce. Tianhao had no choice but to keep up the act, so he ate it. The people were delighted and said that even after all those years, their master was still as impressive as ever. The man then reported that a terrifying dark beast had appeared recently and had been constantly attacking them, with several of their companions already killed. The others added that their tribe's full power could only be awakened under his leadership, hoping he would lead them to protect their home. Tianhao thought to himself that even beings this powerful couldn't handle it, so there was no way a level 20 summoner like him could deal with it. Suddenly, someone shouted that the dark beast was attacking. They all looked toward the sky. He saw the silhouette of two humans riding that beast. Tianhao was shocked to recognize Qing and Shui. They panicked when they saw the monster had returned. Tianhao called out to Qing and Shui. Slime wondered if they were just an illusion. He was pulled back by the representative and told not to act recklessly, but he demanded to be let go. He was warned that it was a shadow monster, and the dark energy on its surface could devour everything. He was no match for it. The giant leader told everyone not to panic, saying that with the master present, the shadow monster was no match for them. He added that as long as they united, they could destroy it without the master needing to lift a finger. Everyone still looked terrified. Tianhao was confused. The same man who said he wasn't a match was now urging others to fight instead. The monster flew straight toward them. The leader ordered everyone to prepare for battle, saying the master was watching their performance. The others hesitated, but he urged them to hurry, asking if they wanted to embarrass themselves in front of the master. The monster's claw came crashing down. Suddenly, a flaming sword appeared, and a woman slashed the monster. causing it to cry out in pain. Qing and Jue were shocked. The monster began to crash. The woman stood there, flames surrounding her. She called them a bunch of useless trash and said they would be better off submitting to her, promising to protect them. There was a brief silence. The leader thanked her, Ling Yue, for her help. He then told her they would not submit, as they were not tools for her selfish desires. She asked the giant whale if it was really still waiting for its master to return. She snapped, telling them to wake up, and said she was tired of hearing that nonsense. Our boy just kept quiet and continued watching their banter. She raised her voice and explained that she wanted them to submit not out of selfish desire, but because the one they called master had died outside long ago and was never coming back. She pointed out that the giant whale was clinging to a hollow delusion and dragging the entire tribe down with him. The leader, whom she addressed as Giant Whale, revealed that their master had returned. She was shocked. She asked where he was. Then the giant whale pointed at Tianhao. Tianhao wondered how the conversation suddenly turned to him. He had just become the center of the drama. She mocked him, laughing as she questioned if he was really the master. He thought to himself that she clearly didn't think much of him. This angered the giant whale. He told Ling Yue that the master had only just returned, and his aura hadn't fully recovered yet, but his identity as a summoner was real. He reminded her that the master was the last summoner in the world. She didn't care if it was true. She believed that Tianhao was definitely not their master. Then she realized that only the two of them had seen their master's true face, so he must have found an imposter to trick everyone. She accused him of deceiving everyone just to stop her from becoming the leader. Now, everyone began to question whether the master was fake and if the whale was lying to them. But others considered that Yue might be the one lying. She challenged them, saying that if they didn't believe her, she would prove it. She unleashed a flame strike, and Slime and Unicorn immediately stepped in front of Tianhao to block it. The giant whale took the hit. He warned Yue not to disrespect their master, or he would be forced to act. She made up her mind to make him submit to her. When she turned away, the giant whale let out a sigh of relief. She went to a cave. She muttered that she had already given them a chance, but they didn't take it. So now, they would have to face the consequences. Inside the cave was a dragon-like creature. She had ordered those shadow monsters to attack that night to eliminate the nuisance and bring her the imposter. She declared that by tomorrow, she would become the queen of the Black Abyss's second floor. She looked forward to it. Everyone in the temple fell silent. The tribe members told Giant Whale that they trusted him, but it was true that only he and Yue were from the older generation who had actually seen the master. They didn't know who to believe. Slime noticed their hesitation and asked what they should do. Tianhao calmly told them to play along for now and adapt as things unfolded. Giant Whale grew angry and said Yue had always wanted to rule the tribe, so it wasn't surprising she would slander their master. He asked them if they weren't afraid of the master's wrath. He then apologized to the master, explaining that they were just juniors who had never seen him before and meant no offense. He asked for forgiveness. Tianhao replied that it didn't matter if others didn't believe, as long as the one in charge did. He then told Giant Whale to rise, saying that now that he was here, they should stop dwelling on the past. Suddenly, someone splashed water on Tianhao. A junior, with a mohawk, argued that if the master had truly created their world and taken in their ancestors, his strength must have been terrifying, and there was no way he wouldn't be able to dodge such an attack. He declared that Tianhao was not the master at all. They spat at Giant Whale in disappointment. They had trusted him, but he had lied to them. Giant Whale could see what they were feeling from their expressions. The one with the mohawk declared that Yue was right, and that she was the only one who could truly protect them. He swore loyalty to her. Others followed, saying they would join her to fight the shadow monsters. More voices agreed and stepped forward. Giant Whale quietly thought that he never expected things to end this way. Tianhao confronted him, saying he knew all along that he wasn't their master. He realized that Giant Whale only wanted to use him as a symbol to rally everyone against Yue and the shadow monsters. Giant Whale admitted he didn't expect to be seen through, but acknowledged it was indeed part of his plan. He apologized, admitting that he had lied to Tianhao and to everyone else. Slime and Unicorn were furious at him for deceiving them from the very beginning. They questioned why he lied, calling him a bad person. He then said that the master's presence had led them there, meaning the place they were in was the correct one. He explained that the master had led them in building the temple, and every companion they lost was buried there. He added that ever since the master left, they had faced countless crises, and his old companions had passed away, one after another. Now that the shadow monsters had appeared, he could feel everyone's fear. So many years had passed, and he knew their master was likely long gone. He admitted that when Tianhao appeared, he immediately recognized him as a summoner and thought the plan could give everyone a pillar of support so they could unite against the shadow monsters. Unfortunately, he failed, and he couldn't save anyone. Unicorn asked if they were all going to die. Slime said she just wanted to go home. Our boy then approached Giant Whale and then revealed that Tianhao wasn't an imposter. He was actually the master's student. This made the Giant Whale stop crying. He asked where the master truly was. Tianhao replied that the master was busy with something important and had sent him ahead to check on things. At the first layer, a silver-haired man stepped onto the swamp. He wondered where the entrance he had left in the swamp had gone and questioned if he had come to the wrong place. The monsters observed him and noted that, as expected, with his memories, he wouldn't remember where the original entrance was. He quickly ordered them to find the next swamp. He refused to believe that he couldn't find it. Back to these guys. Giant Whale asked if Tianhao had any proof that he was truly the master's student. Tianhao replied that his status as a summoner was proof enough. If he wasn't the master's student, there was no way he could be a summoner too. Giant Whale said he needed time to think, as he sensed something was off. Tianhao asked what there was to think about when their priority was defeating Yue and the shadow monsters to protect their home. Giant Whale realized he was right and asked what they should do next. Tianhao told them to take him to the shadow monster's lair so he could rescue his friends first. That night, at the cave, the shadow monsters were sleeping. Qing and Shui lay on top of one. They both looked exhausted. They jumped down. Suddenly, a portal appeared. A voice spoke, waking the monsters. They were shocked by what they saw. Alright, that's it for today's story. If you want the weekly chapter updates for this series, those will now be uploaded on my second channel, Manhwa Updater. So if you don't want to miss what happens next, make sure to check it out and join the update gang. Thanks for watching, stay cool, stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.